Today, it's the Seattle Seahawks versus the Miami Dolphins.
This afternoon, we're at Joe Robbie Stadium for a matchup between the AFC East and the AFC West. The Dolphins play host to the Seahawks, a team that's once again on the edge as far as the playoffs are concerned. And ideal weather conditions today in South Florida. Game time temperature at 80 degrees with almost no wind whatsoever. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joel Myers alongside Ahmad Rashad, and welcome to Miami. A critical game for the Seattle Seahawks with a 7-6 record as far as the playoff hunt is concerned. For the Miami Dolphins, though, they have already locked up a playoff spot, Ahmad. The big game for them next week at Buffalo, but still they cannot afford to look past Seattle.
Yeah, since we've been down here in South Florida, that's all that they've been writing about is the big matchup with Buffalo next week. But they cannot look past Seattle. Seattle's a legitimate playoff contender. They've beaten Kansas City twice and Cincinnati. They are trying to go into the playoffs.
On the other hand, the Seattle Seahawks have taken 3 straight, 4 of their last 5.
After an 0-3 start, Ahmad, they've got to be considered one of the biggest surprises this year in the AFC.
Well, they really have. You have to forget about the way that they've won their games in the past. The only thing that is legitimate here is that Seattle is legitimate. I mean, they really have a fine football team, and Miami cannot afford to look by them.
A great ground game over the last 2 weeks for the Seattle Seahawks. You'd have to think that's the same philosophy today, Ahmad, to keep Marino and the Dolphin offense off the field.
The teams that have beaten Miami are the teams that have been able to run against them, and that's exactly what Chuck Knox comes in here wanting to do, knowing that the way you stop Marino, the only way to stop Marino, is to keep him off the field.
Seattle winning the opening toss. Stoyanovich has it teed up. James Jefferson and Chris Warren back deep for the Seahawks. And we are underway from Miami. Good to have you with us at Joe Robbie. It'll be Chris Warren 2 yards deep in his own end zone. And Warren with a return across the 20. Will take it up to the 22. For the offense, will get their first start of the day. Grant Fiesel, a stinger last week. The week before, their center, a hyperextended knee. A lot of heart, a lot of character from the anchor of that offensive line in the middle. Big group protecting Dave Craig, and in the backfield as well, John L. Williams and Derek Fenner. Blades and Kane, the starting wideouts, along with Travis McNeil, the tight end. And when the extra wide receivers come in, it'll be Scansey and Chadwick entering the game. Chadwick, the former Detroit Lion. So 1st and 10 for Seattle. Their own 22-yard line. Play action for Dave Craig. And a man wide open, Tommy Kane. He's got a first down and then some, all the way past the 45 to the 46-yard line, where he's bumped out by Jarvis Williams. The defensive alignment, the front seven, a group that's been run against very effectively over the last 2 weeks. Turner, Lee, and Cross up front. Linebackers Griggs, Offerdahl, Odom, and Green. And in the secondary, a great secondary. They've been outstanding, second best in the NFL against the pass. McKyer, Brown, Williams, and Oliver. When the Dolphins go to their nickel, Hobley and Glenn will also come in. 2 tight end set, Ron Heller and Travis McNeil in the game now. The ball out of the 46-yard line after the big completion from Craig to Kane. Derek Fenner, his first carry of the day. He had 112 yards last week on the ground, his second highest total of the year. He only got a yard on that play, though, to the 47.
One of the surprising things that everybody comes in here knowing that Seattle wants to run the ball. In the first play of the game, they play action pass, which went for big yardage. Then they come right back running the ball, and Miami able to snuff them. Derek Fenner has a big game last week against Green Bay. Has practiced well all week, and they expect him to try to duplicate that game today.
2nd and 9 now. The ball at the 47-yard line of the Seahawks. John L. Williams, the only one to the backfield as Fenner jumped. Derek Fenner lining up on the hip, the tight end moved. It'll be 5 yards against Seattle.
Obviously, that play was on 3, and Derek Fenner went on 1. Or maybe it was on 4 and he went on 1, but he certainly was offside. There was no question there.
Still 2nd down.
There's the referee's microphone coming in a little bit late. Johnny Greer, our ref today, calling the penalty on Derek Fenner.
Once again, see, everybody moved there, but Fenner moved way before they all moved. About 5 minutes before they did.
Seahawks ran it for 158 yards last week against the Packers, their second highest total of the year. Week before, 123 against the Oilers. But now in a passing situation on 2nd and long, 2nd and 14. Pocket holds up for Craig. Guns it to Tommy Kane. It's complete to the midfield stripe. Still short of the first down by about 6 yards.
Fine throw by Craig and a nice throw by Kane, getting him back into close to that first down. But you see Craig just backing up, looking for Kane the entire way, and throws a strike right here. There's Kane right over the middle. Nice execution on the play. They still come up a little bit short.
The extra defensive backs coming in now for Miami. On 3rd and 6. And the ball right at the 50. Craig, for the first time today, will work out of the shotgun, flanked by John L. Williams. Chadwick going in motion. Craig with time again behind Blades, but he's got it. The former University of Miami product coming in home. Young man who grew up not too far away in Sunrise, Florida. Went to Piper High School and has his first grab of the day. Second on the Seahawks in receptions.
And Brian Blades is a legitimate Pro Bowl receiver. And here you see him coming across, makes a nice catch. These are the balls that are hard to catch when they're a little bit behind you. You got to have those sure hands, and Blades just pulls it in. He's got a lot of his family here in the crowd today. He came down here and said he needed 35 tickets for this game, and anytime you're playing in front of mom and dad, you play a little bit harder.
1st and 10, an impressive start for the Seahawk offense. Movement on the right side of the line, flags into the air. And the ground game going nowhere with Derek Fenner on the carry. But again, the right side jumping up. It looked like it could have been the tight end, 86, Travis McNeil.
Illegal motion. Offense. It's declined. 2nd down.
Brian Blades, there they are. There's his dad, and there's his mom, and there's Frederick and Belinda and Sonia and Greta and Kirsty and Keith and Felicia, HB, Benny's son sitting right there, Brittany, and little bro is down on the sideline. That's the whole clan right there. I know all of them.
The Blades family.
That's right, I know all of them.
2nd and long. 2nd and just about 14. The ball at the 46. Delay to John L. Williams. The former Florida Gator bottled up, leaving the backfield. Only got a couple inside the 44.
John L. Williams, also from Florida. This is the Miami connection. All these guys from Florida. John L., James Jones, Brian Blades, Cortez Kennedy, and Ronnie Lee. John L. has 35 tickets. All of his family down here.
Little verbal volleyball going on between Ronnie Lee and the Dolphins. Don Shula mentioned that Ronnie Lee, who's been in his 12th year now in the NFL, former first-round draft choice with the Miami Dolphins, had an injury problem, it seemed, when he was with Miami. So Ronnie Lee shot back through the Seattle Riders that he played in a lot of Miami teams that seemed to quit in the second half of the season.
That'll get him fired up.
You
on
said it. Craig out of the shotgun on 3rd and better than 10. Got a man wide open. Tommy Kane again. It's his 3rd reception already. And he's got it to the 31-yard line for another Seattle first down.
And for all the people that thought that the Seahawks were going to come here featuring that run, David Craig has taken this game into his own hands and throws a nice shot here to Tommy Kane, who's wide open on a crossing pattern. And I think that this offensive game plan is something that, as we look at Tommy Kane, their number 81, has a couple of receptions already. I think the game plan is throwing this Miami defense off. They expect them to run.
They curveball regularly, but a couple of flags have hurt the Seattle offense in the early going as well. A couple of 5-yard mark-offs. Derek Fenner hit in the backfield, and he's down for a loss. Jeff Cross penetrating, making the hit.
And Seattle doing much better through the air than they are on the ground. Jeff Cross is just an excellent football player, and he's one of the players on this Miami defense that has turned this entire defense around. They've got some quality football players on this defense.
He's a player, Amato, who was very, very unhappy with his salary at the outset of the season. You might remember they renegotiated his contract. 3rd-year man from the University of Missouri. He was making just barely $100,000, but they gave him a new package about 3 to 4 weeks into the campaign. Just about right after we left here, after they annihilated Buffalo 30-7 very early this year. Craig throwing on 2nd and long. Has a man, Kane, wide open to the 10, to the 9, where it'll be 1st and goal.
Tommy Kane working on Jarvis Williams. You see David Craig with a lot of time to throw the ball, and he's looking at Kane the entire way. He's wide open. Just a great route and a great catch by Tommy Kane. Look at that room. Look at all that room there. A lot of room. And this is they got this formation here where it looked like 3 blind mice. One of them going left, one of them going right, and then Tommy Kane slips out just behind that. Kane 3 catches for 57 yards, and Chuck Knox, the surprise of the afternoon with a strong passing game.
First and goal to the 9 is started back at Seattle 22. John L. Williams trying to get outside. Tim McKyer makes the play, though. Well, the lead block wasn't there. Derek Fenner tried to seal off that right side. Williams couldn't get around the corner, though.
Yeah, Johnny O with an option to go inside or outside, chose to go outside, and a very good play by Tim McKyer, just riding him out of bounds. I think Tim McKyer was outweighed on that one by about 50 pounds, but he came up and played it very strong. McKyer not noted for his tackling ability, but he certainly can cover as well as anybody in the league.
What a turnaround for Miami this year. Fewest points allowed in the AFC, second best in the NFL, a little bit better than 14 per game. After the first 13 weeks. Going into the end zone, Kane's there, and it's overthrown by Craig. Kane had a couple of steps on his man, J.B. Brown.
An excellent route by Tommy Kane as he came in motion, ran towards the post, and just curled around the defensive back. Watch Kane in the way. Runs to the post, bites, now breaks it out to the outside. He's wide open the entire way, and David Craig just overthrows him. And Craig knew the moment that ball left his hands that he had just overshot his receiver. And a lot of times when you get a play like that, you won't get a second chance at it.
And that is the first miss today for Dave Craig. Total of 78 yards on his first 5 pass completions. Now it's 3rd and goal. Loss of 2, put it back outside of their 10 to the 11 on the carry. The first down carry by John L. Williams. Gansey goes in motion out of the shotgun. Here comes Craig. Dump off John L. Williams. Well defended by Miami. Jarvis Williams there, along with the extra defensive back, Rodney Thomas.
An excellent play. They've been throwing downfield the entire day. They take John L., swing him underneath, just a little swing pattern over to the left side, and now John L. was all on his own. He's got 2 defenders in front of him and just lowers the boom on him. They tried to get some weak underneath coverage, and now they set up for Norm Johnson a field goal attempt.
Former UCLA Bruin will hit it from the 15. It'll be a 25-yard attempt. Made 11 of his last 13. 6 straight coming into the game. It's out of the hold of Jeff Kemp. And it's perfect. Make it 7 straight and 12 out of the last 14 now for Norm Johnson. What a turnaround it's been for the place kicker for the Seattle Seahawks, who almost lost his job after week 3 of the season.
Chevy's got this truck, S10EL. More mileage than a leading import for less money. I said that's more for less. I told Chevy if you tell everybody about it on television, everybody's going to want to do it. The imports will see it. They'll say, hey, we want to do that too. Chevy will say, nope, can't. More for less. That's ours. Then the government will say, maybe we could give the people more for... Nah, more for less. What a concept. Now it's easy to win with the heartbeat of America.
This year gave him one of the legends of the sea. Old Spice aftershave cologne and gift packs. Now being shipped in time for the holidays. So give him the clean, classic scent of Old Spice and celebrate goodwill toward men.
Hard to believe, but that was me, Dan Dierdorf, before I lost 40 pounds in 4 months with Ultra Slim Fast. Hey, I'm a big eater, but with Ultra Slim Fast, I never felt hungry. The plan is easy. I had a delicious shake for breakfast, another for lunch, and then a sensible dinner. I'm back to my college playing weight, and I feel terrific. Best of all, I'm not shaped like one of these anymore.
Ultra Slim Fast. Give us a week. We'll take off the weight.
The Seattle Seahawks hang on to the ball for the first 7.5 minutes of the game, but have to settle for 3 after getting it down inside the 10. First and goal to the 9. It goes back to what Brian Blades and John L. Williams told us even last week in Green Bay, Ahmad. Inside the red zone, those little mistakes have hurt them.
They really have, and I think when you're playing against a Miami team, and Chuck Knox told me before the game, they've got to score touchdowns anytime they get in a situation. 3 points will not do it, especially when you're playing a highly explosive Miami offense.
Logan and Stratford back deep, waiting for the kickoff from Norm Johnson. The Dolphins ready to touch it for the first time offensively. It'll be Troy Stratford from the 2. Stratford met at the 20 and falls forward to the 23. Melvin Jenkins, the first one down there to make the hit. Offensive line, a very young group. 2 rookies on the left side, Webb and Sims. Yolinek, Galbraith, and Dennis. The experience over to the right side. Marino joined to the backfield by Smith and Logan. Logan subbing for the injured Tony Page. Duper and Martin are the wideouts, along with Farrell Edmonds, the tight end. And when the Dolphins go to their extra wide receiver alignment, Jim Jensen's in the backfield, along with Pruitt and Stratford. The extra wide receivers coming in. Tony Martin goes in motion. They're in the eye on 1st and 10 from the 23. Sammy Smith spinning outside for good yardage. He gets about 5 to the 28. Brought down by Joe Kane. A lot of talk about whether Sammy Smith is going to turn it on over the final run of the regular season, because they have been disappointed. Last week only had 17 yards on 18 carries. Defensive front, a very effective group. A lot of experience up front. Green, Nash, Bryant, and Woods for Seattle. Linebacking group, they've had 6 different linebackers start this year. Aarons, Wyman, and Kane in there for Seattle. And joining the secondary, McElroy, Blackman, and Jenkins when they go to the nickel. Logan, the only one in the backfield now on 2nd and 5 outside of the 28 of the Dolphins. Logan gets it and doesn't get much, but still stretches it across the 30 to the 32. Good effort by Mark Logan in his 4th year from Kentucky.
In order for this Miami Dolphin team to really be a force in this upcoming playoffs, they really have to establish a ground game. I think Don Shula knows that, and he's changed his offensive patterns a lot this year, because they are trying to establish the run and not rely so heavily on Dan Marino having to go back and throw for 5 touchdown passes every game to win games. Marino's stats are down, but the thing that's important to Marino is that he has a chance to win a championship, and he says that's what's most important for me. Forget my stats.
It's a 3 tight end set now. One of the tight ends goes in motion, and Sammy Smith easily with the first down up the middle across the 35 near the 37. Brought down to the secondary by Eugene Robinson.
These are confidence building plays when you can line up, head up, play football against these guys and turn Sammy Smith loose, have him run hard up the middle, because this is something that Miami couldn't do in the past. When they got down to 3rd and short yardage, they always end up throwing the ball. But now all of a sudden they've got a legitimate running game when they get it going, and now they are a force.
Last 2 weeks, the running attack, though, has been almost non-existent against Washington and the Philadelphia Eagles. Marino throwing on 1st down. Has his big tight end. It's complete. Farrell Edmonds with a 1st down into Seattle territory to the 44. Wyman combining the stop with Nesby Glasgow. 20 yards on the gain.
Farrell Edmonds, to me, is one of the top tight ends in the National Football League. He's 6'6", 254 pounds. Watch the speed he has once he catches this ball. He just starts running past people and then powers ahead for another 3 or 4 yards. Just an excellent rangy player, and when you got that size and strength, it's such a huge target for the quarterback.
Made the AFC Pro Bowl squad last year. He's in his 3rd year from Maryland, a 3rd-round choice in '88. 1st and 10, the 44 of the Seahawks. Play action for Marino, rolling the pocket. Wide open, it's Edmonds, and he's got another 1st down. It's down to the 31. Both offenses looking very efficient in the early going. Woods and Aarons on the stop there.
Who said Dan Marino wasn't a mobile quarterback? Wasn't that not a rollout and a throw backwards? You know, watch Marino. Here he comes. I thought he had to throw from the pocket. There's Dan running outside. Finds Farrell Edmonds, that big, huge target. And the thing I like about Edmonds is that he has gotten better each year. When he first got into the league, he hadn't had a lot of experience catching a lot of balls. But, boy, since the last couple of years, he has become as good as they've got in the league.
1st and 10 inside the 32 for Miami. Misdirection. It's Logan. He's got a big gain. Close to another 1st down. A yard short. After coming up with 9 on the carry, Hunter and Woods putting down the running back. But big holes opened up now by the offensive line, and they're going to the hurry-up offense.
The problem you have when you try to defense Dan Marino is you've got to defense the pass. Once you do that and you become a little bit hesitant, now all of a sudden they shoot the run at you.
2nd and 1 at the 23 of the Seahawks. Seahawks lead it 3-0. 3.25 left in the first. A first quarter that's flying by. Logan again. He's got the first down inside the 20, all the way down to the 17.
And Marino bringing them right back up on the ball. They wanted to apply the pressure right away. And now we will see why Chuck Knox was so worried about Dan Marino being in the game, because they've come right back down this field the moment they got the ball. Excellent drive.
Marino working without a huddle on first down. Logan again trying to bounce it to the outside. Good pursuit. Nesbitt Glasgow got him along with Jacob Green. But it was Woods on the right side that really turned it in.
Woods turned the play in, and just when the runner tried to reverse field, Nesbitt Glasgow came in and just nailed him. Nesbitt Glasgow been in the league for a long time, seems like forever, but has not lost anything. He's a very intelligent, hard-hitting football player. I talked to some of these Dolphins. They said they voted for him for the Pro Bowl.
It's down to the 15-yard line, where it's second and close to 9. Out of the shotgun, it's Marino. Over the middle, wide open. Logan can't hang on. Bobbled it all the way. It'll be incomplete. That was a bullet from Marino. Only traveled about 7 or 8 yards.
That's the way you want that ball, Joel. When you're in that traffic right there, you want that ball put on you in a hurry, because you know you're going to get hit. Here, Marino looking downfield, can't find anybody, fires it into Logan. A very catchable ball, but he's just not able to hold on to it. And you know you're going to get hit down in that area. And the best thing a quarterback can do is throw it hard so that you don't have to watch it for a long time.
Call it 3rd and 9 from the 15. So let's see if the Dolphins now can capitalize inside the red zone. When we talk about the red zone, it's inside the 20-yard line. Jensen, for the first time today in the contest, he's working out of the backfield next to Marino. Movement on the line, a flag into the air, and it's out of the hands. The wide receiver, Tony Martin. But it looked like the right side of the Miami offensive line was jumping up anyway.
We talked about illegal motion on the Miami Dolphins. We talked about their injuries at wide receiver. Tony Martin is doing
illegal motion. 87 offense. It's declined. 4th down.
Tony Martin's been doing a pretty fine job. You got to come up with those catches.
He's a former college quarterback out of Mesa College in Colorado. Was on the developmental squad last year. And now it's going to be a field goal try for Stoyanovich, hoping to tie it up for Miami. It'll be out of the hold of the backup quarterback, Scott Seahawks. They'll put it down just inside the 23, so officially they call it a 32-yard field goal. Stoyanovich has only missed 2 all year long, and one of the 2, a 53-yarder. Low snap. Seahawks gets it down, though, and Stoyanovich ties it up at Joe Robbie. So 2 impressive drives, but both resulting in field goals for the Dolphins and the Seahawks.
Darling, after 10 years, the only thing I'd change about you is your clothes.
You go, boy.
Why don't you try this one on first?
Not long ago, one of the first Lumina sedans was bought by a family of 5. They said they liked the gas mileage, all the room it had, and they liked the price. Since then, the Lumina sedan has quickly become the best-selling new car name in America. Apparently, a lot of people are winning with
the heartbeat of America. That's today's Chevrolet.
Now it's easy to win with a heartbeat. It started with a hand, because shape and feel are as significant as lens and shutter. Introducing the Infinity Super Zoom 330 from Olympus, where great pictures and great design go hand in hand.
Tots, the premium choice.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Today's Chevrolet, who invites you to see why more people are winning with the heartbeat of America. By McDonald's. You know the one. It's McDonald's for food, folks, and fun. By Bugle Boy Company, because any closet without Bugle Boy is an empty closet. And by Ultra Slim Fast. Give us a week. We'll take off the weight.
It's a sultry Sunday afternoon in Miami. Game time temperature at 80 degrees. And welcome back to Joe Robbie. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. Stoyanovich ready to boom it away to James Jefferson and Chris Warren. It's all tied up at 3. So as far as Chuck Knox and Don Shula are concerned, they are 0 for 1 inside the red zone because they had to settle for 3 once they got it inside the 20-yard line, 1st and 10. Stoyanovich sending it deep into the end zone. Warren will stay right there very wisely. And the Seahawks will have it 1st and 10. The second time today at their own 20-yard line. So it is all tied up at 3. A critical game, to say the least, for the Seattle Seahawks. They'll have it back when we return with 1 minute and 51 seconds left in the first quarter.
It's Chevrolet Geo winter time, where everyone can win with the most fuel-efficient line of cars and trucks in America.
Sir, what's your favorite color?
Medium Quasar Blue Metallic.
Good guess. You can win with cash back or low financing on any Geo. Tracker, Storm, Prism. Miss, come here often?
I've never even bought a new car before.
Well, then you can win with a first-time buyer bonus on any Geo.
I love this Metro.
I can tell.
Get to know Geo during wintertime at your Chevy Geo dealer.
A voice from the grave unlocks the clues to a haunting murder mystery, plus the shocking story of a CIA hitman whose cover is blown. An all-new Unsolved Mysteries on NBC Wednesday.
Seahawks get it back for the second time this afternoon. The first time they had the ball, they held onto it 7.5 minutes, but they had to settle for a Norm Johnson field goal. They drove 72 yards, had it 1st and goal to the 9-yard line, but could not capitalize on that situation. They did generate points, though. Now they have it 1st and 10 of their own 20 with Tommy Kane going in motion. He's already got 3 catches. Breaks, throwing on 1st down. Pressure. He's hit by Hugh Green, and it's almost intercepted by Jarvis Williams. It's all tied at 3 in Miami. Let's get an update now. Head to New York and Bob Costas.
All right, Joel, after a 33-yard Warren Moon to Haywood Jeffries pass set them up. It's a 24-yarder to Tony Jones to finish it off for the touchdown. Nice diving catch for Moon, his 30th touchdown pass of the year. And at Arrowhead, the 7-6 Oilers lead the 9-4 Chiefs 7-0.
Well, the Moon is out in Kansas City a little early.
He's a phenomenal quarterback, having without a doubt the best year of his career. It's now 2nd and 10 after the incompletion. Flags into the air, a dead ball foul coming up as Derek Fenner took it for 5 on the carry, and a procedure call. 3rd flag in the early going against the Seahawks. And an opportunity to update you now on the 10-minute ticker. Houston, as Bob just mentioned,
64 offense. Still 2nd down.
With that 7-point lead, the call on the left guard, Derek Brills.
And Tampa Bay with a lead over Minnesota, 7-zip.
On a 49-yard touchdown run by Vinny Testaverde.
They found all different kind of ways to score down there in Tampa. Testaverde better be careful. They might move him to running back.
Call him Big Bird back there. It's a 5-yard mark off out of the shotgun on 2nd and 15. Craig with ample time. He's got all day, and he throws the ball away. Scansey was hanging out on the sideline, but then started to turn in. He's one-on-one against Hugh Green, the matchup that Craig liked.
Once again, Seattle using that formation where they put 3 receivers right in a line. I like that, the 3 blind mice. Chuck Knox there, you see his career record, 169, 115, and 1.
I loved his comments earlier this week when Chuck Knox was asked about all the cardiac routines by his team over the last 4 to 5 weeks. He goes, you know, coaching in football is 2 things, winning and misery. Craig on 3rd and 15, flanked by John L. Williams, works out of the shotgun from his own 15-yard line. He's got ample time again, going for Paul Scansey. It looked like it was taken in. Yes, it is. A first down for the Seahawks outside of the 32.
Paul Scansey is a star at making these type catches. He knows exactly where he is all the time. Watch him bring this ball in a little bit. Push, push, push in, and then break to the sideline. Now, he knows where he is all the time. Watch as he catches this ball, drag both feet. Nice catch. That's just good work. That's great work there. There's another angle. Watch this great footwork. Paul Scansey with a fine reception.
And Seattle now 3 of 4 on 3rd down conversions. John L. Williams banging into the 35-yard line. A little better than a yard on the carry. Put it between the 34 and 35. Great concentration as we saw those 2 looks. John L. Williams coming back, a neighborhood he knows very well. 5th year out of the University of Florida. 2nd leading pass receiver in the AFC.
And John L. grew up in Palatka, Florida. And one of his teammates in Little League and in high school and at Florida was Jarvis Williams. This is the first time they played against each other. They said everybody in Palatka is watching.
2nd and still close to 9 outside of the 34. Derek Bennett this time with a big hole. He's across the 40. And a big play by Jarvis Williams, or that would have been good enough for the first down. He is just short by a yard.
Last week I thought the Seattle line blocking was excellent, and right here this is just excellent blocking here as Finner just burst through the hole and with that power and speed able to just power through.
The left tackle, the big block on the play, Andy Heck in his 2nd year from Notre Dame. A big one at 6'6", 290.
I thought Mike Tice was the one that actually really sprung him. He came from the outside and sealed it off.
And that is going to be our final play of the first quarter, with both teams moving up and down the field pretty effectively. It is tied at 3 at the end of the first.
These people are about to become winners during Chevrolet Geo wintertime. Sir, what is the best-selling line of cars, and which trucks are more people switching to? Starts with C.
Chevy.
Brilliant. You can win with cashback or low financing. Miss, who has the most fuel-efficient line of cars and trucks in America?
I know this.
Getting to know you.
Geo.
Yes, Geo, you can win with a first-time buyer bonus.
I knew that.
You too can be a winner during wintertime at your Chevy Geo dealer.
Fathom Cologne. For men of motion, whose emotions run deep. Fathom. For men of motion, whose thoughts run deep. Fathom. For men of motion, whose feelings run deep. Fathom. A fresh, new, thrilling cologne. Fathom for men whose emotions run deep. Fathom. Cologne for men.
They say drink plenty of fluids. Swallowing's total pain.
To stop sore throat pain fast, Advanced Formula Chloraseptic has the power of phenol. It penetrates nerve endings to work on contact, so it gives the fastest relief. And nothing lasts longer. Advanced Formula Chloraseptic works fastest, and nothing lasts longer. For fast relief when you're away from your spray, also try great-tasting Chloraseptic lozenges.
The Bengals. The Raiders. Boomer and Bo. Next.
Now, it is well documented the play-faking abilities of Boomer Esiason and Joe Montana, but watch David Craig. The moment he hands the ball up, he's calling a timeout before the play's even over. Didn't work. Either that was a timeout or he's trying to throw the ball. I couldn't tell.
It's 3rd and a couple. 3rd and 2. The ball at the 41. The pitch for Derek Fenner. Tries to get to the outside and won't be able to turn the corner. A flag down to the play. A couple of flags. Normally see a holding call. John L. Williams was trying to lead the way. It may have been called on number 32.
With the pitch that Dave Craig used, it almost led Derek Finner to the outside. He didn't have ability to cut back.
It'll be declined by Miami. They stopped them well short of the first down.
A lot of times you want that pitch to hit you right in the chest so you have a chance to either take it outside or cut it back inside. And that pitch led Finner a little bit to the outside.
Holding. Offense. It's declined. Fourth down.
Here is the pitch. Watch the pitch lead Finner a little bit too far wide. Now he's way outside and makes a bad decision to take it outside, and Miami just snuffs the play.
Sir Rick Donnelly is in to punt it away. Troy Stratford back deep for Miami at his own 16. And Donnelly sends out a beauty. A high spiral. Good hang time. Inside the 10, it's lost. Melvin Jenkins down there. Seattle's got the ball, I believe. Yes, at the 2. The Seahawks have it. Melvin Jenkins down to the special teams with the recovery.
One thing that has been excellent on this Seattle Seahawks team ever since Rusty Tillman got there is strong special teams. Watch this ball right through his arms. Now he doesn't know where it is. Melvin Jenkins is right on top of it. These kind of plays never surprise the Seattle Seahawks special teams. Rusty Tillman does as fine a job as anybody in football in keeping his special teams aware, awake, and always ready to make the big play. As you see, Melvin Jenkins not only recovered the ball, but he is not giving it back.
So now it's at the Miami 2 for the Seahawks. First and goal. Fenner behind Williams in the eye. Derek Fenner slamming it in. It's a touchdown for Seattle. Didn't take long. One play, and they capitalize on the turnover.
Just a power play off left tackle. They give it to the deep back in the eye. Fenner, and let him pick his hole. He picks it and just fires through. Cliff Odom tried to make the stop, but Derek Fenner took the angle and ran right through the tackle into the end zone. Fenner having an excellent year.
Came into the game tied for the AFC lead in touchdowns with 11. Make that number 12, with 11 of those 12 coming on the ground for Derek Fenner. Johnson with the extra point. And Seattle making the most of the opportunity. Goes up by 7 now on Miami early in the second quarter.
Some people see shaving as something you do for 3 minutes a day. At Braun, we see it as something you do for a lifetime. And we think you should make the best of it. The Braun Shaver, with its 3 shaving positions. Designed for those who choose to make a virtue out of necessity. Braun, the world's #1 selling foil shaver.
When you're out street hiking, you better know how to read the terrain. Do your best to preserve the wildlife, because street hikers don't just walk, they hike. Fresh shoes, Joe.
You know, Ace is a place for all kinds of holiday stuff. From the tree and all the trimmings to the right stuff to put under it.
This Ace Ultra Brute flashlight with alkaline batteries, only $366, and a Polaroid high-grade video 3-pack, just $888.
When it's time for ho, 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 Ace is the place for me.
Thrill of their lifetime, and yours. The NBA on NBC.
For years, he's been one of the very best in the business. Rusty Tillman, the special teams coach for the Seattle Seahawks, and Ahmad, look what happened last week when they needed the ball back from Green Bay. Onside kick, they get it back, and then a little pooch kickoff, and they get it back.
You can't say enough about Rusty Tillman. He's one of the best special team coaches in the business, and they do it every single year. You know, he was a great special teams player himself.
Norm Johnson ready to kick it away to Mark Logan and Troy Stratford. It'll be Logan from the 4. And Logan snapped down short of the 20 at the 19-yard line. Now, when you look at the AFC playoff picture, The Miami Dolphins in great shape, of course. Even if they lose today to the Seattle Seahawks, they can still win the AFC East by beating Buffalo next week and then getting help on the final Sunday of the season with Buffalo playing at Washington. But they need that help from the Washington Redskins.
If they were to lose today.
Right.
But the thing is, you don't want to get yourself in that frame of mind. You don't want to get into all those mathematics going into the end of the season. The thing you want to do is win and control the thing yourself. Miami has an excellent opportunity to do that. And if they do that, they go into the playoffs, you know, one of the real contenders and going to the Super Bowl.
Ron Heller, the backup tight end, the injured Seahawk, making it off on his own.
I know one thing, that this Seattle Seahawks team has certainly gotten Miami's attention at this point. We talked earlier before the game about how in the papers we've been reading all about Miami maybe looking past Seattle. But you know, when you play on a team, you look at Seattle on film all week, so maybe you don't look past them. It's the writers and the people that write about it that look past them.
Eric Limbrick joining Sammy Smith in the backfield. Marino throwing on first down. Farrell Edmonds has the first down on the big grab over the middle. All the way to the 44-yard line. He was working with the free safety, Eugene Robinson.
Actually, he was man-to-man here with Dave Aarons, who's trying to hold him up at the line and then run with him. Once he lets the guy run past him, he has no chance of trying to cover him. And that's one of the weaknesses they're going to try to exploit the entire day, is try to isolate Dave Aarons on Farrell Edmonds. And if they can, that is a huge mismatch. Farrell Edmonds just runs too well.
First and 10, the ball at the 44 of the Dolphins. And Marino is changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Fumble by Sammy Smith on the, or make that Limbrick on the exchange. Gets it back though, right at the original line of scrimmage. Limbrick, a first-year man out of Oklahoma State, subbing along with Logan today.
One of the funny things is to watch how most teams signal in the plays from the sideline. It looked like Marino was signaling them back. I mean, they're both sending signals back and forth to each other. There was some confusion on that last play, and they're going to have to straighten all this out.
Limbrick in the backfield once again, along with Sammy Smith on second. Still calling it first and 10, right outside the 44-yard line. Misdirection, Sammy Smith. Flag down on the play. Sammy Smith also down, but not before he picks up about 5, close to 6 yards to the midfield stripe. But the penalty coming up against the Dolphins, a hold. Be right back. The clarification from Johnny Greer, but an update once again in New York from Bob Costas.
All right, Ahmad, here's the Jets' first touchdown at the Meadowlands today. Ken O'Brien, off a nice play-action fake, has lots of time, finds the rookie from Syracuse, Rob Moore, near the back of the end zone for a 6-yard touchdown. Shortly thereafter, Brad Baxter scores from a yard out, and it's 14-3 in favor of the Jets over the Colts. Joel?
Okay, Bob, I did not realize my voice had changed that much in the span of 1 week. Did you, Ahmad?
No, you know, me and Bob are tight. He just wanted to throw my name around a little bit. Let everybody know that me and him are partners. Thanks, Bob.
It's at the 35, where it's 2nd and 19. Marino out of the shotgun. It's a screen for Stratford. Stratford breaking tackle, still on his feet, all the way to the 49. What an individual effort, an exceptional one at that. Finally put down by Tony Woods.
Troy Stratford putting a little excitement in this offense. He is so dangerous. And coming off a major knee reconstruction, here you see he still hasn't lost any moves. He's got such great lateral quickness, and also he's very strong for such a little guy, but just keeps powering ahead and powering ahead. Those are the kind of plays that get your entire offense fired up. This guy is just a bundle of dynamite.
2 wide receivers to each side. Watch out for number 11 in the backfield, Jim Jensen. On third, the ball fired for Stratford. And good play defensively. James Jefferson there working on Stratford.
James Jefferson with an excellent play, came right over the top and knocked the ball away. That is excellent defense there by James Jefferson.
Jefferson's in his 2nd year from Texas A&I. As Reggie Roby with a 41-yard average. Ready to punt it away to Chris Warren. It has not been a great year, though, for Reggie Roby. In particular, last week was not all that effective against the Philadelphia Eagles. A couple of short ones. Sends out a high a wobbler. Warren will take it at the 9. Moving past the first man, taking it across the 15 as he eluded Mark Logan down around the 10. And he's got it out to the 18, where Seattle will have it back, leading by 7.
No matter where you look, there's Mazda. We're introducing new products like the Miata, setting new sales records, winning the respect of the automotive press, and winning awards for both quality and customer satisfaction. But most important, we're making thousands of people feel just right.
Wild thing. It is a wild thing. Oh, come shout and sing, join in the ring. It could be queen or it could be king. You go your way and I'll go mine. As long as you just make it fine.
The good times roll with the clean, fresh taste of Bud Light. It won't fill you up, never let you down.
Wild thing. Wild thing.
Citizen, 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 elegant citizen, citizen, elegance.
Oh, his citizen,
One citizen
with lots of citizen, elegant, elegant, perfectly elegant
citizen. We've got elegance.
This is how easy it is to collate a mailing on an IBM laser printer. And how easy is it to collate with our major competitor? Probably now isn't the best time to ask. IBM laser printers. Suddenly, nothing else measures up.
Reserve defensive back Lifford Hobley, the injured Dolphin, on the special teams play.
He hurt his knee, but boy, with this show of emotion here, he could end up having a broken hand too.
Number of injuries, especially on the offensive side, at the wide receiver position for the Miami Dolphins. For the Seattle Seahawks this year, their injuries basically at the linebacking group. Seahawks have it back, 1st and 10. They're on 18-yard line, leading by 7 at 10-3. 11:20 left in the first half. John L. Williams with good room with which to work with. Out across the 20 to the 23 for a gain of 5. Updating you now on the 10-minute ticker. Houston still with that slim 7-0 lead over Kansas City. Tampa Bay getting a field goal to lead by 10. 2 Emmitt Smith runs and a missed extra point have the Cowboys on top of the Phoenix Cardinals 13-3. And the Jets now with an 11-point lead over the Indianapolis Colts. Here in Miami, an early 7-point lead for Seattle by way of a turnover. The Seahawks recovered at the Miami 2-yard line. John L. Williams into the secondary. John L. Williams taking it across the 45, and the touchdown-saving tackle made by Tim McKyer.
John L. Williams and Jarvis Williams. Jarvis was 2 long-time teammates. All of a sudden, you see John L. just explode up the middle. Now, there you go. Nice move right there. John L. is... We were talking to Don Shula yesterday. He said John L. is probably the best all-around back in the league right now. He can do everything. He blocks well. He catches the ball well. And he runs the ball extremely well. And he's playing for his family up in the stand.
Well, he may block a little bit better than Thurman Thomas, but I don't know. I'd have to possibly give the edge to the guy in Buffalo. Derek Fenner being met right at the line of scrimmage, falling forward for a couple of yards. The 49 near the 50.
I don't know. You think that you take John L. over you take Thurman Thomas over John L.?
It's a toss-up.
Boy, I don't know about that. That's a tough one. What about these guys? You think these people have children at home? They're looking silly down there with them hats on.
They're having fun though. Come on, they're having a good time.
Look at that. The kids are laughing. He said, "Oh, that's my dad. He got that doggone stupid-looking hat on. It's hot outside."
Call it 2nd and 8 outside of the 49. Quick count by Dave Craig on the straight and deep drop. Going for the sideline. Wanted Brian Blades. Well covered, though, by Tim McKyer. This is the 2nd best defensive unit against the pass in the NFL. Their division area, of course, this year has been against the run. They gave up better than 240 yards, 247 to be exact, last week on the ground against the Philadelphia Eagles, a team, Ahmad, that is not exactly known for their rushing attack.
Now, I mentioned that the hats were stupid looking. I only said it looked stupid if you don't have the rest of the uniform on. See, You got to have that whole red suit with the black boots, but just the hat, silly looking.
4 wide receivers in there on a key 3rd down for Seattle. Great field position. See if they can capitalize. 3rd and 8. Craig with time. Looking for Kane, who thought he was turned around by the defensive back. He was working against Rodney Thomas and did not get the flag. Shoulder pad showing and all.
Pretty good coverage there by Rodney Thomas. He was all over him.
So after the big run by John L. Williams to take it close to midfield, they cannot convert on 3rd and 8. Rick Donnelly in to punt it away, and the Dolphins now taking no chances, sending 2 back. Jarvis Williams is going back there, along with Troy Stratford, who fumbled away the last punt by Donnelly. He hangs up another beauty. Williams calls for the fair catch, lets it head over his head, and Melvin Jenkins did not keep his eye on the ball as it heads into the end zone. So a break for Miami, a rare breakdown with the Seahawks special teams as we come back to Joe Robbie.
What is the image of a rebel? These are the images of a rebel. Canon's revolutionary new autofocus EOS Rebel. So easy to use, you can stop taking snapshots and start taking photographs.
Image is everything.
EOS Rebel from Canon. So advanced, it's simple.
It may have been 30 years ago, or just yesterday. A roadster caught your eye, and you've never been quite the same. The Mazda Miata.
It just feels right.
One day there was just too much gray. I thought, should I or shouldn't I? I didn't. I was afraid it might look phony. I wanted natural-looking color, and I wanted to do it right, with no pouring and mixing. Nobody else could give me what I wanted until Clairol Option Instant for Men. I figured if it's from Clairol, I could trust it. I could. I went from gray to my natural-looking color in 5 easy minutes. My hair looks great, feels great. When I look in the mirror, I don't see gray. I see me.
Do it right with Option, also in gradual formula.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. Mazda, it just feels right. By Canon, photographic consultant to the National Football League. By Hickory Farms, the gift everyone loves to get. And by Bud Light, everything else is just a light.
Dolphins have it back, 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. As we welcome you back to South Florida. Joel Myers along with Amon Rashad Marino throwing, looking for the screen. It's Troy Stratford to make it Sammy Smith. Smith on the completion, breaking tackles, bouncing off people all the way to the 28-29-yard line. Short of the 1st down. Finally brought down by Joe Kane.
That is the kind of running that they expected from this young man when they drafted him, and they like to see that. Just a nice play. At this point, they thought the play was all over. Sammy Smith stuck up against the sideline, and he just starts breaking tackles and keeps running, pounding his way forward. Sammy Smith, the key to this Miami offense being effective. He's 7 receptions, 52 yards, but more importantly, what's he do from a running standpoint?
2nd and 2, Tony Martin in motion. Sammy Smith will not get the 1st down. Ridden down. The big play defensively by Cortez Kennedy, the rookie from the University of Miami, coming home. Don't forget the 2nd half of our doubleheader this afternoon. Most of you will see the Raiders taking on the Bengals at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. Boomer and the Bengals in that 3-way tie for the AFC Central, along with Warren Moon in the orders, Bobby Brister and the Steelers, all at 7 and 6. So big game in the AFC playoff picture. It's coming up next as the Raiders try to stay in a tie for the AFC West lead with the Kansas City Chiefs. Jensen in the backfield. All of a sudden it's 3rd down, still close to 3. Ball outside of the 27. Marino with time. time, and a man deep, wide open over the fingertips of James Pruitt. Well, Pruitt was dropped a couple of years ago because he couldn't hang on to the ball. Had a couple of drops last week before coming up with a big catch. And that has been the knock against him, not being able to hold on to it.
Well, in defense of him that time, that ball was a little bit overthrown, just out of his reach. And I think Marino realizes the ball just a little bit too much on it. Comes over, and Dan gives him a little pat on the back. You won't see Marino miss very often, but that time just a little bit overthrown.
Roby in for his second punt of the afternoon. They got close, and Roby booms it out over the head of Chris Warren, who takes it on one hop, loses it. It's loose, and Miami comes up with it at the 9. Stephon Moore has got it. Turnabout fair play in Miami as they recover a fumble.
This ball was kicked out of the stadium, and when it came back in, it just went over. Just went over Chris Warren's head. And then he tried to play it off the bounce. That's always a bad idea. Just cannot hang on to it. And Stephon Moore's right down on top of it. There you see Chris Warren. There's Stephon Moore. Great play.
1st and 10. Make it 1st and goal, rather, at the 9-yard line with Martin in motion. Sammy Smith on the carry. Big hole up the middle, all the way inside the 5, down to the 4. Gain of 5 on the carry.
Hard running by Sammy Smith. Once he finds a crease, he takes his ball deep in the backfield and finds a crease and just puts his head down and just powers through. Good running by Sammy Smith. Good line blocking also by that Miami young offensive line.
2nd and goal outside the 4. Duper on one side, threw it the other wide receiver, and Marino changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Looking for the timing pattern in the corner, and it's almost intercepted. He wanted Duper. Patrick Hunter stepping in front of the intended target.
I think Dan was expecting Duper to run a fade pattern, but he gets hung up here a little bit. Dan tries to throw the ball where only Duper can catch it a little bit behind him, but fine defensive play there by Patrick Hunter was right on top of him.
Second time today for Miami inside the red zone. They only had 3 on their first try. Now they're looking at 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line with 4 wide receivers setting up. Jensen in the backfield flanking Marino. Marino with time. Now the pressure comes from Jacob Green. He's got a receiver. Touchdown Dolphins and James Pruitt.
Dan Marino made this play possible. He had pressure coming from the right side. He stayed alive, stepped back inside, and fired the ball to James Pruitt. But Marino, staying alive, enabled Pruitt to come open. Just a great play, fine throw.
Stoyanovich aimed for the extra point. He is 30 of 30 in that department. A perfect one for Marino and the Dolphins as they tie it at 10.
For naming the Mazda MPV best in class, we'd like to thank Car and Driver. For ranking it the most trouble-free minivan, J.D. Power & Associates. For naming it one of the top 10 import buys, Motor Trend. And for making the Mazda MPV the best-selling import minivan, we'd like to thank the Abbotts, the Ackermans, the Adisheks, the Agarmans.
Mazda, it just feels right.
The Altons, the Ammermans, the
Only one antiperspirant in the world helps keep you so dry with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. Only one deodorant in the world has so many odor-fighting ingredients with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. There's only one Old Spice.
Thank you very much.
Hickory Farms.
It's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me. My delight is such.
I'm deeply touched.
I feel the joy of Christmas has begun for me.
Thanks, Mom.
At Hickory Farms, we have hundreds of delicious gifts for Christmas, all designed with one response in mind.
Thank you very
much.
Hickory Farms, the gift everyone loves to get.
Thank you.
Citizen, 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 elegant citizen, citizen, elegance. Oh, his citizen, one citizen with lots of citizen, elegant, elegant, perfectly elegant citizen. We've got elegance.
NBC Sports kicks off a new year with a Hall of Fame Bowl as Clemson battles Illinois. Then Louisville takes on Alabama in the Fiesta Bowl. And it's a primetime showdown of the Orange Bowl as #1 Colorado battles Notre Dame to decide the national championship. New Year's Day, NBC is the place to be.
He certainly isn't the most mobile quarterback in the NFL, but he did an outstanding job that time of buying time, eluding Jacob Green. And that extra second or two helped him find James Pruitt in the back of the end zone. It's tied up in Miami at 10 apiece. And welcome back once again to Joe Robbie Stadium. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. Warren and James Jefferson winning the kickoff from Stoyanovich. Will head out of bounds. So the Seahawks will have it 1st and 10 at their own 35-yard line.
This was a great play by Dan Marino. Just great patience here. He's looking down in the end zone. He gets pressure here from Jacob Green, number 79. Steps back inside, knows he's going to get hit after he delivers his ball, and puts a strike right to Pruitt at the back of the end zone. Another look at it. Watch Marino work. Feels the pressure from Jacob Green. Now, he knows he's going to get hit by Woods just as he lets the ball go. Boy, he gets tagged, keeps his head up, and watches Pruitt catch that ball in the end zone.
So 2 turnovers, 1 for each team, has resulted in a touchdown for the opposition. Derek Benner darting through a huge hole past the 40, out of the 42. For a gain of 7. Scores around the NFL. Saw that early lead for Warren Moon and the Houston Oilers. A 7-0 lead over the Kansas City Chiefs. It's up to 10 now at Kansas City. Still in the first half. Pittsburgh finally gets on the board at New Orleans. While Tampa Bay is surprising Minnesota.
Dallas, not surprising Phoenix, just beating them by 10 points.
And trying to get to the 500 mark. Second and 3 at the 42. And Derek Benner wrapped up in the backfield, knifing through to make the play. It was the linebacker David Griggs in his second year from Virginia. Great penetration by Griggs.
This game is turning into a playoff type game. It's one of those, and you realize at this point in the season, you just want to keep your team in contention, stay close, and then in the last parts of the game, you want to try to make the plays to help you win it. And both teams are playing that way.
6 defensive backs in there now for Don Shula. 4 wide receivers for Chuck Knox.
2 coaches that have been to quite a few playoffs in their time.
3rd and 3, the 42-yard line. Craig out of the shotgun. Pressure coming. He's on his way down. The linebacker, E.J. Jr. got him.
Dave Craig has had a lot of time to throw the ball all the way up until this point when E.J. Jr. just makes a great play. Craig trying to slip underneath the rush is brought down by E.J. Jr.
Longtime member of the St. Louis Cardinals. His 10th year out of Alabama, former first-round draft choice. As Donnelly's in to punt it away.
Also a former Pro Bowler.
Troy Stratford waiting for the short one. Let's stay away from it. It's headed to the sideline, and it's out of bounds where the Dolphins should have exceptional field position. And they will have solid field position to start their next drive. 1st and 10 when we come back at the 32-yard line of Miami. It's all even at Joe Robbie Stadium. 4 minutes left in the first half.
The thirst for adventure is Michelob Dry. Refreshing beyond the ordinary. And once you've experienced a bold taste with no aftertaste. There is no going back.
He stirs in the land of dawning. He stirs now in the age of wandering. Now on the trail of beauty, he stirs.
Introducing the new Navajo from Mazda. Motor Trend's 1991 Truck of the Year.
It just feels right.
Some people think it's a great idea for you to buy a second-rate antifreeze. Not all antifreeze is the same. Nothing beats Presto. And that's something you might appreciate down the road.
Citizen, 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 elegant citizen, citizen, elegance. Oh, his citizen, citizen, one citizen with lots of citizen, elegant, elegant, perfectly elegant citizen. We've got elegance.
The Miami Dolphins with a huge advantage in first down yardage. Better than 9 per try for the Dolphins on 1st and 10. As opposed to the Seahawks, a little bit better than 3. Miami gets it back now, 1st and 10 of their own 32-yard line.
You know, Miami's the type of team, I don't know if you want to be in one of them punching matches with them, trying to score for them, because they have the ability to put them up in a hurry.
Clock moving, under 4 minutes left in the first half. Marino throwing with plenty of time, going for the bundle for Tony Martin, who's got it. He's inside the 25 to the 23. What was that you were saying?
I don't think you want to get one of those punching matches with Miami, because they can do it in a hurry. And this ball by Dan Marino is a perfectly thrown ball. I mean, I could have caught this one. Well, maybe not.
Don't stretch it, buddy.
Tony Martin with a fine catch. It's the clock. First down. And Marino just laid it right on the line to Tony Martin. Great catch. Once again, Tony Martin here, number 89. Watch, this ball is right there, just like in practice. Great play by Tony Martin.
44 yards on the reception for Martin, and 1st and 10 all the way at the Seattle 23-yard line as Pruitt goes in motion. Sammy Smith won't turn the corner. Jacob Green, the first one in there.
Dan Marino is so animated. He's involved in everything. After Sammy ran outside there, Dan wanted him to cut up the field, went over and told him, you got to keep that ball inside. He is involved in everything.
Reminder at the end of today's broadcast, McDonald's and NBC will be announcing the Ronald McDonald Children's Charities Player of the Game. A loss of 2 back to the 25. Logan and Stratford in the backfield now. 2nd and a dozen. Will they give Marino enough time? They do, and he's got a receiver, but a flag is down as James Pruitt is down at the 15. A flag down in the same area. Did Pruitt push off, or was it against James Jefferson? It goes against Seattle.
I think this route should have been run just a little bit deeper. When you see James Pruitt come open, the timing looked a little bit off. He could have taken it a little bit deeper.
Illegal contact. 26 defense. First down.
Well, Dan Marino came into the game needing 110 yards to pass Norm Steve to move into 10th place on the all-time passing yardage list. He just accomplished that.
And you'll see James Pruitt here with a nice route. Stop and go, and then another stop, and you can't touch the receiver that far down the field. I guess Jefferson, though, it's better to touch him than to let him run by you and catch a touchdown.
They'll take the penalty, though, because of the automatic first down that goes along with it. So it's 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. And before the end of the year, Marino should be 9th on the all-time passing yardage list. Moving past John Brody. Stratford doing a lot of dancing, but only getting a yard to the 19. It'll be 2nd and 9, brought down by Tony Woods.
An excellent play by Stratford, just getting back to the line of scrimmage.
That takes us down to the 2-minute warning in Miami.
Oh, here we go! Whoa! You're dust, baby. Zombie blitz! How you like me now, baby? Got good life insurance? All in one word!
If you live near high-tension power lines and run household appliances, you stand a greater chance of getting cancer. Is electricity hazardous to your health? We'll find out on the next Today.
Welcome back once again to Joe Robbie Stadium. It's all tied up at 10 apiece as we've reached the 2-minute warning. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. A lot of counter-punching in this contest so far, partner.
That's true, and I don't think Chuck Knox wanted to get into one of these kind of matches where he's going to try to outscore this other team, but they've been doing pretty well. If you stay close and have a couple of big plays in the fourth quarter, you got a chance to win, but I think that Chuck would rather play from a lead rather than trying to play point for point with Miami.
Well, the way it started out, it almost looks like a regular Seahawk kind of game. Whoever has the ball last has a great chance of winning the game.
That's exactly right. And the thing is that I think that Seattle has certainly got Miami's attention, that they are not looking past them now talking about Buffalo. They got their hands full right here with Chuck Knox's team. And Chuck, I think in terms of coaching, he does as fine a job as any coach that has ever coached in this business of getting his teams ready to play. He really has my utmost respect with the way that he prepares a team to come down and play.
He is in his 18th year, 7th on the all-time win list as far as NFL head coaches are concerned. Don Shula on the other sideline, 2nd on the all-time win list. And Chuck Knox has taken his teams to the playoffs in 11 of his 17 seasons coming into the season.
And there is a excellent group of coaches right there. And all of them from the same part of the country.
This all started at Miami 32, 2nd and 9. Stratford in a huge hole inside the 10. All the way down to 6. 1st and goal, Miami.
We mentioned earlier that Troy Stratford is just a bundle of dynamite. He's so quick, has so many moves. He just, nice hole, just an excellent hole, and great a bit of running once he gets through the hole.
They're going with the hurry up. The misdirection. Touchdown Miami and Troy Stratford. It almost appeared that they caught Seattle before they were ready defensively.
Nothing but pure determination on that run by Troy Stratford. Chuck Knox saying maybe they weren't ready. Trying to figure out what happened. But in a game like this, you got to forget about what happened and make sure that you can make something happen when you get the ball. Because, like we said earlier, you don't want to get in a punching match with this team.
Right now, it's turned into a rope-a-dope. Stoyanovich with the extra point. And it's the first lead of the contest for the Miami Dolphins as they go up by 7.
And Marino here with a nice handoff. It looked like a broken play. Of course, that might have been the way they designed it. If it wasn't, they should put it in for next week, because it certainly worked.
Ran right over Van McElroy, number 31.
And he is a small player, but that's just nothing but desire. He gets hit by 3 or 4 Seahawks and still powers his way into the end zone. Troy Stratford, just to see him talking there, that's Tony Page and Mark Clayton. Mark Clayton will come off injury reserve next week, and Tony Page, he'll also play next week. The fullback here that has meant so much to this Miami football team, he's the one in the hat.
4th year from Boston College, Stratford coming through. The run to set up the 1st and goal to the 6th, and then the 6-yard touchdown run. It's been a tough year for Dan Marino and his receivers. And as a former wide receiver, Ahmad, what does that do to a quarterback, especially with the timing when you lose a Fred Banks, a Mark Clayton, an Andre Brown? All of a sudden now you're working with a Pruitt and a former college quarterback like Tony Martin. Stratford all of a sudden pressed into duty.
Well, these guys have done a pretty good job, but you certainly do not replace an all-pro with somebody that you picked up off of a wire somewhere, you're certainly going to go down. But when you got a guy like Marino, he has the ability to spread the ball around, take a little bit of the pressure off the wide receivers, use his running back a little bit more, and he's done that very much.
Plenty of time left for Seattle to put points back on the board. Stoyanovich gets into it. It'll be Chris Warren, and he'll stay in the end zone 3 close to 4 yards deep. And in case you missed NFL Live earlier today, looking back on the headlines, Jim Kelly telling Bob Costas expects to be back for the playoffs. May not be available if they are in a wild card situation, but should be back in time for the rest of the playoffs. Will McDonough saying that Bill Sims' foot injury suffered yesterday where he missed the second half, most of the second half, may be more serious than first thought. And Bill Walsh feeling the Raiders are capable of going all the way if they don't make the silly mistakes.
I have a feeling, I have one to add to that I think Buffalo has a chance of winning the championship. There they are, the boys.
First and 10 at the 20. John L. Williams with a gaping hole close to the first down. Right at the 30-yard line. And don't forget, NFL Live at halftime to fill you in on updates of all the scores around the NFL. Craig going with a hurry-up over the fingertips of Scansey as Louis Oliver was looking for the interception.
Lucky to come out of there without an interception. Anytime you miss a ball and it bounces up in the air, 9 times out of 10 it's picked off by a defensive back. You see Scansey working, just trying to break it back. Ball thrown just a little bit quick. He knocks it up in the air, and luckily they don't get it picked off. Jerry Burns used to always tell me, if you're going to knock the ball down, knock it down, don't knock it up. And by that score down in Tampa, they've been knocking a lot of balls down as the Vikings are trailing Tampa 16-0. Like that segue?
Third and less than a yard. John L. Williams in motion. And Penner's got the first down across the 30. And Craig uses the first of his 3 first-half timeouts. So he's got 2 remaining. So now we will have an opportunity to look at all the scores around the NFL. And don't forget highlights of these games with Bob Costas, Will McDonough, and O.J. Simpson at halftime. Houston still maintaining that 10-point lead over Kansas City.
Big surprise down there in Tampa Bay by at least somebody. They're leading those Vikings 16-zip.
Who can figure out those Vikings?
I will try and figure out those Vikings.
You're going to be in Minnesota next week.
That's right. I'm going to go and find out what is the story on those Minnesota Vikings.
And that feature will be included in our matchup on the Saturday afternoon game. Model, look at the roller coaster ride it's been for the Minnesota Vikings this year. So the Seattle Seahawks use their first timeout. They've got 2 remaining, and they've got a first down just outside of their own 30-yard line. 3 wide receivers setting up the same side for Dave Craig. Blades, Kane, and Scansey. For Chadwick over to the near side. Craig on the cross to Blades. He's short of the first down. Out to the 37. Hugh Green, one of the first ones in there for the Dolphins on the stop. Trying to make a quick change as the offensive lineman gets off the field. Valuable seconds ticking away. Craig finds some time. He can run for the first down. He will. And he'll also get out of bounds. At the 44. Heads up play by Dave Craig with 29 seconds left in the first half. And the Seahawks down by 7. Don't forget, coming up tonight on NBC, started all off with Ferris Bueller and Saved by the Bell. And NBC presents the blockbuster movie that's just, well, it started it all. Back to the Future with Michael J. Fox. And that's followed by Parenthood with Ed Begley Jr. It's all tonight only on NBC. Funny, funny movie. First and 10 for the Seahawks. Don't forget Norm Johnson. There's so many field goals during his career, better than 50 yards. If they have to settle for 3. Craig going deep. He wanted Chadwick. It's out of bounds. J.B. Brown with him every step of the way.
Seattle wanting desperately to get some points here. You got to try to, if you're going to get in a scoring battle, you got to try to at least try to get 3 here on this drive. Going to halftime just 4 points down rather than 7.
Well, they seem to be going more towards the sideline, even though they still have 2 timeouts left, and it looks like the middle may be available.
Well, with only 22 seconds, and sometimes when you throw it down, I guess you'd have to get rid of that timeout right away, but Miami playing in that deep zone, they like to sit a man in the middle and just confuse you. That's the spy that's sitting in there. That's the guy you want to stay away from.
2nd and 10. Craig loses the ball. Seahawks have it. The play's not dead yet.
No, it's not dead.
And finally, they wrap up Ronnie Lee. Oglesby, though, with the pressure on the quarterback, forcing the fumble. Now they will let it run out.
Ronnie Lee with an excellent chance to pick that ball up and go. Just picked it up and held it. See, he's never touched the ball before in a long time. He used to be a tight end, but he just didn't know what to do.
Well, there's a lot of sand in the area, but he looked like he was in quicksand on that play.
Here you see Dave Craig back to pass. The ball gets knocked out of his hand here. Now the ball's just laying on the ground. Ronnie Lee says, well, let's see. What do you do with? What am I? Well, let's see. I don't know what to do with the ball, and he doesn't do anything with it until they finally pull him down.
So the momentum early belonged to Chuck Knox and the Seattle Seahawks, but taken by the Miami Dolphins in the 2nd quarter, no question. We'll be right back. It's halftime in Miami. 2 late scores in the first half, and the Dolphins lead it by 7 over the Seahawks.
He's Tom Flores, general manager of the Seattle Seahawks. In his 29 years in the NFL, he has won 4 Super Bowls. But throughout his career, he has never forgotten his roots.
Giving young people opportunities has always been important to me. That's why I've worked as a United Way volunteer throughout my NFL career, helping young people like these in Seattle's El Centro de la Raza program. I want to give courage, hope, and love to these young, beautiful people, to give them the same chances I had growing up. Here, they receive help so they can stay in school, and counseling so they can mature and make their contributions to a better community and a better world. When you give to the United Way, you're showing that you care about them. So now, they would like to thank you. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Gracias, Sam.
Yes, gracias. The United Way. It brings out the best in all of us.
This message furnished by the National Football League.
Go back to where it all started. Back for the excitement. What are you looking at, butthead? Back for the adventure.
You're my mom.
Back for the romance.
We can sleep in my room.
I gotta go. Back just for the fun of it. Back to the future.
This is nuts.
Back to the Future, tonight at 8, 7 Central on NBC.
At Coach Fair on Eastern, you book and fly first class.
I would absolutely ask my employees to fly first class if it didn't cost any more than Coach.
It's the first time an airline is looking at the businessman and giving him a break. Lure all the businessmen to fly Eastern.
They're trying to understand the needs of the business traveler.
Why buy bologna when you can get filet mignon for the same price? It's probably the best program I've heard for the business traveler.
Most videos shot with today's small camcorders come out looking shaky like this. Okay. But now, with a push of a button, they come out steady like this. Panasonic introduces the Palmcorder, the compact camcorder with the digital image stabilizer.
I can't believe this, Brian. You're lifting it.
It's small and lightweight, so it fits in the palm of your hand. Yet the Palmcorder uses videotapes that can play in any VHS recorder.
Brian.
The Palmcorder from Panasonic, just slightly ahead of our time.
A Current Affair, weeknights at 7 on Florida's 2.
Okay, welcome back to NFL Live at halftime. The Bengals are in Los Angeles to face the Raiders in the 2nd half of our NBC doubleheader today, and they may be without Boomer Esiason. We go live now to the Coliseum and join Bengal coach Sam Weish. Sam, what's Boomer's status?
Well, as we're talking right now, I really can't tell you whether he's going to be able to start or play during the course of the game. He's going to work out in the pregame warm-up. We'll see how he feels after he goes back inside. We'll actually watch him throw the ball during the early part of the re-entry on the field during the national anthem part of the game. But it's a touch-and-go deal. He has not practiced all week. Eric Wilhelm and Todd Philcox split time 50-50 during the course of the practice week. Boomer was out here but did not move very well or very much yesterday on the day before the game practice. we're just going to have to wait and see. Our evaluation of it and our decision will come as to whether we can win with Boomer playing under these circumstances, and will he walk away from this one being able to play next week and the following week against Cleveland.
So, Sam, when you say that Wilhelm and Philcox split the practice time, does that mean that if Esiason doesn't start and Wilhelm does, we still might see Philcox during the course of the game?
Oh, absolutely. Both of these guys, we demanded of all of our quarterbacks, they have to be ready to play every snap all season long. So they've been getting ready all year long. They just haven't had the experience of game, snaps. But they have prepared themselves mentally. They're ready to play. In fact, they're both anxious to play. And we think we can win the ball game with those guys at quarterback if we have to.
Sam, your players know that the last two are probably more important than this one. How do you keep them thinking about today's game?
Well, I really don't think competitive guys, competitive professional athletes ever walk into a game saying it's not an important game or winning is not the objective of the game. So that part of it really hadn't entered into us. We've heard the commentary and the talk shows and things that have pointed out the fact that we have to win next week, regardless of what happens this week. That's true. But this week's important to us because it's a game that we prepared for and we want to win it.
Sam, OJ here. In preparing to defense the Raiders, how differently do you approach them if Marcus Allen's in the game or if Bo Jackson's in the game?
Well, you really can't approach them any differently. The one thing I think you have to do is you have to approach the running game in layers. You can't go in one flank, because if they break through that flank, nobody's going to catch them from behind. Last year, it was Bo Jackson that broke the game open, and we lost the ball game by 20 points, and it was Bo's long runs. We can't let that happen, but as soon as you neglect Marcus Allen, he's going to beat you. So we got our hands full.
Sam, thanks a lot for joining us. Good luck today against the Raiders.
Thank you.
Okay, and of course, the game that Sam was referring to next week is a home game for the Bengals against Houston in their division. The Bengals and Raiders are coming up later as the NFL on NBC continues.
Early in the second quarter, the Seattle Seahawks had a 10-3 lead, but then the Dolphins took over first on a touchdown pass to James Pruitt from Dan Marino, and then a couple of one touchdown run, but a long run by Stratford to set it all up. So they took over in the second quarter, and at halftime, the Dolphins on top of the Seahawks by 10. After these messages, be right back to Joe Robbie from your local station.
A little girl's Christmas wish brings a mannequin to life.
Hi.
It makes Dad's dream come true.
Oh, yes.
But when the spell is over,
Midnight.
can one family's love keep the magic alive?
Till Christmas, we'll never forget.
In her first television movie, Olivia Newton-John is a mom for Christmas on NBC Monday.
It's the Christmas sale, the sale of the season. The right time to wrap up your shopping with big brand name buys. Like this RCA 20-inch cable-ready TV with remote and auto programming. Yours now for only $239.97. And this compact Sony 8mm camcorder with power zoom, high-speed shutter, and more. Now just $699.97. Hurry into the Christmas sale and wrap up your shopping now.
Welcome to Circuit City, where service is state-of-the-art.
Magic Coach Matt Gukas reports Monday at 6, only on 2 News.
Okay, in the game you folks are watching, Seattle with a winning streak of 3 and Miami with that record of 10-3, trying to stay a game back of Buffalo in the race for the championship in the AFC East in preparation for the game next week against the Bills, and it's Miami 17-10 at the half at Joe Robbie. Juice?
You know, I was thinking that going into next week's game against Buffalo that Miami would be heavy underdogs now. Now with Kelly hurt, that game should be a lot closer than I anticipated. Obviously, they haven't looked beyond this week. Seattle, I must admit, I agree with Ahmad Rashad. I think Chuck Knox does the best job of getting his team ready. And I think he's done the most, I should say, with the least amount of talent than any coach in the league this year. And he's right now my choice for Coach of the Year.
Well, if I were a Miami fan, I'd be happy today about one thing, Bob. The defense is playing better. You know, they had that great record in the early part of the season, then they gave up a lot of points in the last couple of games. The only touchdown they gave up today so far was set up by the fumbled punt, so they're playing much better.
You know, it's possible, in fact likely, that whoever winds up as the wild card between Miami or Buffalo is going to wind up having to play as a wild card, losing some measure of home field advantage, not having that first-round bye. Meanwhile, a champion of the AFC Central could have as many as 7 losses.
That's right. Well, that's one of the unfair things about the system. But what else you're going to do? You put it in place, and you've got to abide by those rules.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the other scores. And one of those teams right now tied for first place in the AFC Central at 7-6 is the Houston Oilers with a 10-0 lead late in the second quarter at Arrowhead. The Chiefs playing without last year's leading rusher Christian Okoye, dislocated right shoulder. Opening drive for the Oilers. After a long completion to Haywood Jeffries brought them close. It's Tony Jones latching onto the 24-yarder from Warren Moon. For Moon, his league-leading 30th touchdown pass of the year. But Steve DeBerg, just moments ago, while we were showing you that highlight, connected for a touchdown pass of his own, and pending the extra point, the Chiefs have moved to within 10-6. And J.J. Burden, we're told, was on the receiving end of the touchdown pass from DeBerg. They haven't kicked the extra point yet, but they're likely to move to within a field goal just before halftime. The Oilers 10 and the Chiefs 6. Pittsburgh has the lead in the third quarter at New Orleans. The score there is 3-0. They've just begun the second half. In the game you're watching, Miami has a 17-10 lead over the Seahawks at halftime. How about this? Tampa Bay, with their record of 5-8, playing their first game under interim head coach Richard Williamson. They were off last week following the firing of Ray Perkins, and with Vinny Testaverde throwing a 49-yard, actually running 49 yards for a touchdown, and later throwing a 25-yard touchdown pass to Mark Carrier, and Steve Christie kicking 3 field goals, all of them from better than 40 yards out, one of them a 50-yarder. It's Tampa Bay 23 and Minnesota nothing. Phoenix playing at Dallas. The Cowboys might win their 4th in a row. If they do, they'll even their record at 7-7. Moments ago, Troy Aikman threw an 8-yard touchdown pass to Michael Irvin. They go to the locker room at halftime up over the Cardinals 20-3. Indianapolis and the Jets. It's New York with the lead in this one, trying to snap a 4-game losing streak. The Jets 14 and Indy 10. They've just started the third quarter. Atlanta has lost 6 straight. Their overall record in Jerry Glanville's inaugural season is 3-10. Cleveland has lost 8 in a row. The last 4 under interim head coach Jim Schaffner. They're 2-11. The Browns have just kicked a field goal to increase their lead at home to 10-3. They're just before halftime. And we'll send things back to the second half of your game right now, and we'll check with you later in the day.
Halftime continues at Joe Robbie Stadium. It's a 17-10 lead for the Miami Dolphins over the Seattle Seahawks. And welcome back once again. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad, at the outset of the telecast, we talked about the basic philosophy of the Seattle Seahawks. Now, they held to that philosophy for the most part in the first drive, holding on to the ball 7.5 minutes, coming up with 3 points. All of a sudden, they got into a shooting match with Marino and Miami.
It's almost inevitable, no matter what happens. And Chuck Knox is worried about this going into the game. He said, we can hold the ball for a long time, but with that guy Marino, they have the ability to come right back and score. Then you get caught up in that sort of a thing, and you try to go back and score, and that's what happened to him. And all of a sudden, Miami got up by 7 points.
Turnovers were a key element of the first half, first 8. Miami turnovers, setting up the only touchdown of the first half of the Seattle Seahawks. Then Chris Warren back on a Seahawk punt. He bobbles the ball as we look back on that, and that set up the first touchdown for the Dolphins.
Almost turnabout is fair play. That's the same way that the Seattle Seahawks got a chance to score when they recovered a fumble and went in for the score. But that was about the end of what Seattle did very well. I mean, I think this is going to be very important how they come out the second half. For any victory, you've got to have half-to-half improvement. And for Seattle, they need a big improvement just to get back into this football game.
The ground game, at times, very, very effective for the Seattle Seahawks, with Derek Fenner finding big holes. John L. Williams the same late in the first half. You'd have to think that they'd want to go back and see if they could establish that ground game.
Well, time runs out on you at this point. When you're trailing by 7 points and you want to try to run the ball, all of a sudden that clock starts to tick down, and you know Marino, anytime he gets in, has a chance to score right away. I think they got to do what they did at the start of the game and start throwing that ball down the field and try to get back on the scoreboard.
Well, if you thought there'd be any letdown by the Miami Dolphins because they were looking ahead for a big matchup with the Buffalo Bills next Sunday, it is not evident.
No, they've shown that they are a championship caliber football team. Even if they were a little bit slow in getting into this game, they certainly turned it around in a hurry and realized that Seattle is going to give them all that they can handle.
And the Miami ground game showing some spark for the first time in 3 weeks.
Anytime you got Dan Marino, you got to protect against the pass, and when you do that, all of a sudden Sammy Smith is firing off tackle, and not so much Sammy Smith, but also Troy Stratford, who came in and gave him a huge boost off the run.
Well, the ground game has not been there the last 2 weeks for the Miami Dolphins against the Washington Redskins and the Philadelphia Eagles. It started to show signs of life, though. In the first half, Sammy Smith coming through a couple of times. Troy Stratford, as Ahmad mentioned, as well, late in the first half.
And Chuck Knox, I would have liked to hear what he had to say at halftime.
Norm Johnson gets into it. It'll be taken by Logan back at the 4-yard line. And great coverage by Rusty Tillman, special teams for the Seattle Seahawks, just barely across the 15. After the 17-yard line, Robert Blackman, the first one down there, covering the kickoff. So the Dolphins have the ball at a 7-point lead. Johnny Greer's also got a penalty, illegal use of hands, a hold on the return against the Dolphins. As we look at the halftime numbers.
Halftime stats you hear, they're pretty even. I mean, time of possession 16 minutes to 14 minutes.
35 on the run back.
Yards passing 105, 128. It's fairly even stats in the first half, but the only big difference is up on the scoreboard when Miami leads by 7 points.
It really was a counter-punching affair in the first 30 minutes of play. Now let's see who has the advantage early. It could determine the outcome here if somebody gets hot early in the third quarter. Deep in their own territory, the Dolphins now 1st and 10 at their own 8-yard line. And Marino throwing from his own goal line has a wide open Lembrick. Garrett Lembrick subbing for the injured Tony Page, first-year man out of Oklahoma State. Cowboys of Oklahoma State have put out some great running backs in recent years. Talking about Thurman Thomas of the Buffalo Bills, also Barry Sanders of the Detroit Lions.
Two pretty good running backs, I'd say. But, you know, we talked about Marino being strapped with not his first-line receivers. One of the things he's done to take up for that is to find those running backs and throw those type routes rather than trying to live and die off his wideouts.
They're short of the first down by a yard. It's Sammy Smith. He spins for the first down out of the 20-yard line. Now, Miami has not been known as a ball control team. It's a quick strike offense. But they start deep in their own territory. And let's see now if they try to put a number and to use a page out of the Seattle Seahawks playbook by holding on to the ball a little bit, running the ball.
I asked Dan Marino yesterday about his missing Mark Clayton. He said, what we miss about Mark Clayton, he's a guy that can catch a 5-yard pass, break a couple of tackles, and run it all the way down the field. We do not have that.
Logan and Stratford, the two in the backfield. And, of course, Marino throwing on 1st and 10 as soon as I say that. He's wide of Mark Duper. Duper on the comeback. And it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line.
Dan Marino always in constant conversation with the players around him, trying to get everybody on the same page.
Of the Dolphins' 10 wins this year, only 3, remember, have come against teams with winning records, beating the Bills, the Steelers, and last week the Eagles. That Bills game still stands out as their most complete effort of the entire season. But that has been the knock against Miami. Most of their wins against the teams with losing records. Stratford dancing his way to the outside. What a run across the 25 to the 26. I bet he can dance too.
Ooh, that was...
Like to see him on the dance floor, partner.
Boy, was that a run. Watch Troy Stratford dip into the hole and then come back out backwards. He dips in, now goes sideways. Now what? Here comes another move. Little left, right, left, and then powers through for the extra yardage. And this is a guy coming off complete knee surgery, knee reconstruction. And there is another fellow with a bad knee. That's Mark Clayton, who says he'll be back next week. That's good news for the Miami Dolphins.
They were 2 of 5 in third down conversions in the first half. This is a 3rd and 4. And it's complete to his favorite man in this situation, Jim Jensen, across the 40 to the 41-yard line. When in doubt, go to Jensen.
It was only a matter of time before this guy caught a pass, because he does everything well. Crash Jensen has stayed in this league so long because he can do everything. A very intelligent player, plays almost every single position, include running back, wide receiver, tight end, quarterback, can do it all. And just a great example of knowing where to be at the right time. And he's been around for a long time.
1st and 10, the ball to the 41. Marino with time and a receiver. It's complete. That's Lembrick, Garrett Lembrick. Out of the 48, 3 yards short of the first down.
I think Marino is at his best when he's dissecting defenses this way. You know, you got to put a little pressure. You got Mark Duper outside, but he's got the matchup that he's trying to get is these running backs on Seattle's linebackers. And if he can get that mismatch there, he's able to just throw balls just like he's throwing darts and move this team right down the field.
There's no question that's the weak link of the Seahawk defense, the linebacking group of Aarons, Wyman, and Kane. missing their best. Rufus Porter as it's through the hands of Limbrick. Kane on his back. And will bring up third down.
Dave Wyman here with a very creative rush. Watch this block. He just jumped right over the top. And Marino's still able to get that ball off. I think as a receiver, you don't know where the ball's coming from. All of a sudden, Marino sidearm it, threw it right by, and got right by the receiver.
Over 30,000 yards in passing for Dan Marino. This only his 8th year. He's reached that plateau quicker than any quarterback in NFL history. Now he's facing a 3rd and 3 from his own 48. It looked like the Seahawks jumped. Jacob Green looked like he was offside as the ball was dropped by Tony Martin. And it looked like Jacob Green was jumping offside, though.
You see Dan Marino coming out and having a little talk with Martin, saying, you got to catch that. You got to catch those little balls.
Forget about that yellow flag that just went up.
Right, they had a free play. The thing that kills you when you got a receiver that catches 50-50.
79, defense. First down.
You cannot stay in business when you catch one, drop one, catch one, drop run. See Marino knowing he's got a free play. Jacob Green knowing that the key to stopping this guy is putting pressure on him. It's just hard to put pressure on him. He lets that ball go so quick.
So first down by way of the penalty. Down to the 47 of the Seahawks. Opening drive of the second half started back at the Dolphin 8-yard line. They've had it now the first 4 minutes of the third quarter. Sammy Smith. Good surge by that offensive line. Up to the 42. 5 yards on the carry.
This Miami offensive line has really, you know, you talk about Sammy Smith and all of a sudden they've got a running game. I really think it centers around the fine job that this offensive line has been doing. Between Mark Dennis, Harry Galbraith, Jeff Ulanake, Keith Sims, and Richmond Webb. Richmond Webb, just a rookie who's played the best defensive down lineman in the business this year and has held his own each and every time.
Talking about Richmond Webb, the rookie from Texas A&M, the Dolphins' first-round draft choice, as Marino audibilizes, changing the play on 2nd and 5. And he's throwing. And it's intercepted. Picked off. The Seahawks have it back. Dave Wyman, the middle linebacker, with it. And he's out of bounds at the Miami 41. Well timed by Wyman. Young man that missed the first half of the season with a knee injury.
Fine play. Watch Dave Wyman, number 92, just sort of reading Marino. Watch, you see that jump he had on the ball? He was going towards that ball just as Dan threw it. Just an excellent guess there, and shows a fine running ability there as he's run out of bounds by Dan Marino. You see Marino, as soon as he threw the ball, he knew that it was an interception. He goes over and puts a nice big hit on Wyman.
1st and 10 for Seattle. The Miami 41-yard line. Derek Fenner on the sweep. And breaking tackles out of the backfield. Has it inside the 39 for a couple of yards. Sean Lee, one of the first ones there for the Dolphins.
Big play by the Seattle Seahawks, giving him a chance here. If they can do something with this opportunity, they're right back in this football game.
And now will this new revamped Miami Dolphin defense rise to the occasion. 5 different starters from last year's squad. 5 of the 11 for Miami. And they take the momentum back and away from the Seattle Seahawks after the turnover. 2nd and 8 from the 39. Pocket holds up for Craig. He has all the time in the world, and he's got Tommy Kane. It's complete inside the 20, down to the 18.
Tommy Kane having an excellent day. Watch Tommy Kane working man-to-man on, nice move off the line. Now all of a sudden McCarr, number 22, has no idea where he is. Kane makes a nice catch. Just a great move to get off the line. Routine right there, but the move was right at the snap of the ball. McCarr thought he was going inside. Next thing you know, Kane was behind him.
Former 3rd-round pick 3 years ago from Syracuse. His 5th catch of the day. 1st and 10 to the 18. The Seahawks are trying to tie it up down by 7. John L. Williams banging it straight ahead for very little. Gets 2 down to the 16. Now while the Seahawks are driving, updating those scores on the Hertz 10-minute ticker. Kansas City with their first score late in the first half to draw within 3. Your Vikings having their problems on the road.
See, when they lose, they become my Vikings.
They're always sentimentally your Vikings, partner. Jets had an early 14-3 lead, now trail by 3 at the Colts. And here Miami, Dolphins clinging to a 7-point advantage. That in jeopardy right now, though. With 8 minutes and 20 seconds left in the third. Play action for Dave Craig. Steps up, pressure coming, and throws the ball away wisely.
Is there any reason why that isn't grounding? Was there somebody down there?
It looked good.
Dave Craig, 9 of 17. But Craig scrambling around here, trying to find somebody downfield. Steps inside the pressure, can't find anybody, and wisely just throws his ball up near Brian Blade's family, which is sitting up in the third row up there.
Critical third down. They need 7 to tie. 3rd and 8 at the 16. Trips to the near side. Dave Craig, timing pattern into the corner. Almost a great grab by Chadwick. Coverage by J.B. Brown.
Dave Craig with a nice throw, and Chadwick got a hand on it, just couldn't pull it in. You see right at the end of the play, you see Chadwick gets that hand on it, and it just gets by him.
Chadwick's key catches last week on 3rd downs against the Green Bay Packers. Now Norm Johnson has hit 12 of his last 14. Trying a 34-yarder out of the hold of Jeff Kemp. This to bring the Seahawks within 4. And it hits the upright. You could see it start to hook right off his foot. So the Seahawks do not capitalize with a big turnover. The interception and return by Dave Wyman. They come up empty, and Miami still maintains that 7-point margin.
Seems to me a new car warranty should cover the entire car for many miles. Now take Ford Taurus. Its basic warranty ends at just 12,000 miles. But the basic warranty on the new Cutlass Supreme goes a bit farther. Like from New York to L.A., back to New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., New York to L.A., to New York to L.A., to New York. Plus a trip to Anchorage, Alaska. Cutlass Supreme with its bumper-to-bumper plus warranty. Here's one car that does it all and does it right. Hey, Dad.
This is the new generation of old.
Over a lifetime, the average American will be involved in 5 automobile accidents. But accidents don't necessarily mean injuries. A TRW airbag can help protect you in a head-on collision. Used with a seatbelt, an airbag gives you a better chance of walking away. TRW.
Reggie, Lewis, roller coaster jam. Lewis, around the world jam. Reggie, reverse jam.
That's reverse jam.
That's Reggie, Lewis.
Miami gets it for the 2nd time in the 2nd half. This time 1st and 10 of their own 20. There's Norm Johnson. They just experienced some tough luck, missing that field goal of 34 yards. Hit the left upright after hitting 7 straight in 12 of his last 14.
Normally you can tell if the ball went through or not by watching the kicker. You tell me if that kick was good.
Logan and Stratford to the backfield. On 1st and 10, Marino throwing. And just barely gets it away. No, in the grasp. He's down. It was Cortez Kennedy, the rookie from Miami, getting to Dan Marino.
And just put a stomach shot on him. Watch this. Bam. And Dan just gets stumbled up and still tries to get the ball down, but he sees his knee hit the ground just before he lets that ball go.
So it's a rare sack of Marino.
Cortez Kennedy, an excellent defensive lineman playing back at home here in Miami.
Looks like another former Golden Hurricane from Miami. Jerome Brown a little bit.
Just like Jerome Brown. in body type.
It's back. I'm glad you said it. Back at the 12-yard line, especially from that angle. The misdirection with Mark Logan. He was off balance all the way. Still gets it out across the 15 to the 17-yard line for a gain of 5. Robinson and Blackman into the hit. So they'll be looking at 3rd and long in a shotgun situation for Marino and the Dolphins. 3rd and 13. Clock moving under 7 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. It's a 7-point game. Miami leading Seattle 17-10. Jensen, the only one in the backfield with Marino. Pocket holds up for Marino. He's got a man, and it's Pruitt, complete for the first down. Blackman got over there a little bit too late. And Pruitt hung on to that one.
This is what makes Dan Marino so good. He's able to look around the field and watch this quick release. This is about a 35, 40-yard ball he threw here. I mean, most quarterbacks have to set their feet, wind up, and throw it. Watch Dan. He's looking around. Now watch this release. He just fires it right on the line. He knows it's complete as he starts that walk.
And if it isn't, he's on his way to walk towards Mr. Pruitt to talk.
That's exactly right. He will have a word with you.
It's up to the 33. Marino, a very vocal one. 1st and 10 over the middle, almost intercepted. Kane, the linebacker, getting there at the same time as Edmonds, the tight end. Good coverage.
There was a clearing route, and I don't think the guy ran down through the middle because Marino's a little bit upset about it. I think Tony Martin was supposed to clear that middle out. Dan Marino, one of those quarterbacks that leads by sheer force of personality.
Dan Marino last week threw for 365 yards, 175 so far today. And he had to throw up 54 pass attempts last week. They come from behind to beat the Eagles. Misdirection, Stratford pulling the 360. Doesn't net him all that much, though. It sure looked good, though, to the 35-yard line.
Tony Wood, he disappeared on Tony Woods. Tony Woods had him dead to rights, and then he disappeared.
That was a very emotional win for the Miami Dolphins. Don Shula said after the win over the Eagles, he said it meant a lot to us for a lot of different reasons.
Watch this move here by Stratford. Boom! Just great maneuverability.
Get back to that thought in a second. 3rd and 8 at the 35. They converted on 3rd and 13 to keep the drive alive. Marino, dump off. Jensen's got it and the first down to the 44. But back to that point, they had come off a loss to the Washington Redskins. Now they're back home against the Philadelphia Eagles, an NFC powerhouse, and they needed it. Their confidence level was low.
Very hard to understand how this man is wide open, nobody on him on a 3rd down play. He's caught so many 3rd down catches for first downs. You would think that would be the guy that you want to be spying on to make sure he doesn't get free. And he does get free and comes up with the first down.
And that shot from Van McElroy heard from here. He took a hit on the side. Smith in the backfield along with Limbrick on 1st and 10. The ball at the 44. The Dolphins continue to hang on, converting on key 3rd downs. Sammy Smith leaping a would-be tackler. The 50-yard line for 6 on the carry.
And the Miami Dolphins really keep you off guard. They jab at you with that pass, and all of a sudden they hand off underneath to Sammy Smith, and he bursts through the line for another 6 yards. It's really funny. Most teams do the run, where they run at you, and then pass. Sometimes Miami does it the other way around. You've got to respect the pass as long as Marino is taking a snap.
2nd and 4 from the 50. As Marino readjusts his backfield. Quick slant. Duper's got it. Duper's got a first down to the 36 of Seattle. Time for us now to check the Hertz 10-minute ticker after another Dolphin first down. Battle of the Andersons. Gary Anderson with the field goal. Morton Anderson with the same. And a tie game in New Orleans. Vikings finally get on the board. A rare lead for the Cleveland Browns. Here in Miami, the Dolphins rolling, leading by 7.
Mark Duper told me it's the best he's felt in years.
1st and 10 from the 36. Pocket holding up. There's Sammy Smith with room. And he's got another first down to the 19.
The mismatch that they're looking for is Sammy Smith on Dave Wyman. Watch number 92, Dave Wyman. There you go, Sammy Smith running underneath, catches the ball, and then just runs away from him. Just an excellent catch and run. Great play call by the Miami Dolphins.
This drive started back at the Dolphins' 20-yard line, kept it alive with conversion on 3rd and 13, also 3rd and 8. And now they've got it at the Seattle 20. So to the 8th reception of the season for Sammy Smith. He's got the tight end Edmonds, and he's barely tripped up. A touchdown saving tackle by Eugene Robinson.
That was a very nice tackle by Eugene Robinson. Farrell Edmonds will come across your screen here. Now he's off to the races. Just a great touchdown saving tackle by Eugene Robinson. He usually makes those type of tackles where he really puts that leather on you, but right there he just tripped up Farrell Edmonds and saved the touchdown.
Whatever it takes. And did he ever come up with a big play?
I like Farrell Edmonds. I mean, this guy's rangy, can run, can catch, can block.
2nd and less than a yard. 2nd and inches. Outside of the 10. Marino throwing again off the fingertips of Edmonds. And he was open again. That 3-step drop with a quick release. Available for Marino.
Led him just a little bit too much, or else, you know, anytime Farrell Edmonds catches a ball in the secondary, you know, he may turn it into a touchdown. He could go. He can break tackles. He's got that tremendous speed. But that time, just not able to hang on to the ball. It's a little thrown just a little bit too long.
Edmonds not putting together the numbers that he accumulated last year when he went to the Pro Bowl as a backup. But many feel he's having just as good a year in his 3rd season out of Maryland.
Roy Foster, who was a starting guard early on, now is playing tight end in this formation. Look at the yards passing there. Miami 223, Seattle 126.
And the Dolphins not ready when they came up to the line with that 3 tight end alignment. We'll find out what they do on 3rd and inches when we come back to Joe Robbie Stadium.
Dean Witter believed in priorities.
Know why your clients are saving. Know why they're investing.
Okay, come on, folks.
At some point, it's college. Later on, retirement. But Dean Witter knows that often the highest priorities are all the things that happen in between.
Is there anything else you want?
Just the first dance.
There are many ways to measure success.
We measure success one investor at a time.
Whether I'm racing 200 miles an hour or driving 55, I don't accept compromises. You shouldn't either. Cars should be responsive yet fuel efficient, roomy yet sleek, not to mention affordable.
Well, surprisingly, one car does all that and more. The new Cutlass Supreme.
So take a look at any new Cutlass Supreme and see for yourself.
Here's one car that does it all and does it right.
New generation of old.
Tots, the premium choice.
Here's a question. How can you save 12% of your gasoline bill every year? Have a regular tune-up. Let's put our energy into saving it.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Oldsmobile. Stop by your Oldsmobile dealer and see what's new from the new generation of Olds. By Canon, photographic consultant to the National Football League. By TWA, the only airline that lets you fly business class for the price of coach. And by Reebok, it's time to play.
Marino and the Dolphins engineering a sensational drive. He has thrown better than 300 yards 38 times in his career. The NFL record held by Dan Fouts 51 times. Sammy Smith on 3rd and inches. I don't believe he got there. Penetrating through it was Cortez Kennedy, the rookie from Miami.
Great play by Cortez Kennedy, knifing through to make that stop.
And now a decision for the Dolphins, already up by 7. Do they take a chance, or do they take the sure 3 and go up by 10?
I think they go for it. I think if you're a team that wants to go to the Super Bowl and you're trying to win a Super Bowl at this point, you go for it. It's a yard. I think if you don't go for it, it's sort of punking off your offense.
That's Tom Catlin. We're just looking at the defensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. Will his defense come up big on 4th and inches? 4th and less than a yard. Marino throwing. Edmonds wide open. He's got it. Touchdown, Miami. What a call by Shula and Marino.
The great thing about that call by Don Shula was the fact that had Marino not had Farrell Edmonds open, he could have run for the first down. You had an option on the play. It wasn't just one of those things where you hand off deep in the backfield, and the only thing you do is pile into the line. At this point, Marino could have ran for the first down.
Stoyanovich tries to put them up by 2 full touchdowns and does so. 21 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. Edmonds with a touchdown. Miami by 14.
Seems to me a new car warranty should cover the entire car for many miles. Now take Ford Taurus. Its basic warranty ends at just 12,000 miles. But the basic warranty on the new Cutlass Supreme goes a bit farther.
Like from New York to L.A., back to New York to L.A., 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 to New York. Plus a trip to Anchorage, Alaska.
Cutlass Supreme with its bumper-to-bumper plus warranty. Here's one car that does it all and does it right. Hey, Dad.
This is the new generation of old.
Some men would rather live their lives sheltered in the harbor, and some would rather sail into life with the unmistakable scent of Old Spice. Clean, true, and classic. Old Spice, one of the legends of the sea.
These NFL coaches lost 249 pounds.
I lost 35 pounds in 5 months with Ultra Slim Fast.
I lost 33 pounds and never felt better.
I can't believe I did it.
The Ultra Slim Fast plan is easy. A shake for breakfast, another for lunch, and then a sensible dinner.
I'm down 38 pounds. I lost the most, and I feel great.
We're big guys with big appetites.
We lost weight.
If we can do it, you can do it.
Ultra Slim Fast. Give us a week. We'll take off the weight.
An 80-yard drive for the Miami Dolphins ends in a 10-yard touchdown toss from Dan Marino to Farrell Edmonds. 5th catch of the day for Edmonds, tying his career high. What an efficient mix for Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins, leading now by 14. Final stages of the 3rd quarter.
Farrell Edmonds is always so dangerous. The more I watch him, it's just a big, tall, rangy guy that can run that way. Just you don't find tight ends in the league that are built like him that have that kind of ability.
Stoyanovich ready to kick it away to James Jefferson and Chris Warren. Remember that ground game I talked to you about from Fenner and Williams? We can forget about that now.
No, I think that's gone. I think now Seattle has got to throw the ball. They got to find Brian Blades is who they got to find.
Stoyanovich, has he ever been healthy on his kickoffs today? Showing a strong leg consistently. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Seahawks at their own 20.
Now Miami all set to run. Watch number 50, Dave Aarons. He's faked out by the play. Now Marino running. He has a chance to either run for the first down or throw to Edmonds for the touchdown. And the wise thing that he did was threw to Edmonds for the touchdown. And Marino saying this is the best I've felt physically in quite some time.
Hey, I'm a businessman. I want to fly in business class. Who wouldn't want to fly in business class? So why does it seem like there's never a business class flight when I want one? Answer that one, will you?
TWA has nearly 3 times as many domestic flights with business class as all other airlines combined.
Amazing. It's like they read my mind.
TWA's business class. We did it first. We do it better.
My dad knows all about space vehicles. He directed me to the new Oldsmobile Silhouette. Its looks are stellar. And the interior is perfect for the enterprising family. The modular seats pull out easily. There's a place for everything. Compared to other forms of space travel, Silhouette is the logical choice. Right, Dad?
Eminently logical.
This is the new
Silhouette. Travel in space and style.
generation of Olds.
What do I know about the holidays?
Lights,
Lights,
camera,
action.
Ever-ready Energizer batteries are only 99 cents after rebate, and the Sharp full-function solar calculator is only $5.88.
Ace is a holiday place for me.
Let me tell you.
Only one antiperspirant in the world helps keep you so dry with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. Only one deodorant in the world has so many odor-fighting ingredients with the cool, clean scent of Old Spice. There's only one Old Spice.
Go back to where it all started. Back just for the fun of it. Back to the future.
This is nuts.
Back to the Future, tonight at 8, 7 Central on NBC.
Now, we have told you that Dan Marino is very much involved in everything. He has coached, he has played quarterback, he is now congratulating his, his tight end. You're talking about an animated player. Dan Marino is involved.
He's a great guy to talk to, and he's also one of the most intense guys you'll be around, too. As it's complete to Tommy Keynes. Kane having a sensational day for the Seahawks at the 28-yard line of the completion. Brought down by Tim McKyer. So the Seahawks are going to have to put it all together in the final 15 minutes of regulation.
Well, they have done it so many times before. Now they have to draw on that. They've been out of a lot of games, and Chuck Knox has somehow rallied this team to get back involved, and they've come back and won quite a few.
We'll be right back for the final 15 minutes of play after these messages from your local station.
It's Christmas Day. I haven't missed it.
Gather the family for the holiday classic Scrooge. Tuesday night at 9 on Florida's 2.
Hi, folks. Is this how you feel when you're trying to trade cars? Upside down, owe more on it than it's worth? Well, let Barrett Ray get you straight with this 1991 Nissan Sentra for only $149 a month. Or how about this 1991 Stanza for only $189 a month? Bring me $670 down, fill out the papers, and drive it away. When you're done, bring it back. We'll get you another one. $149 or $189. Your choice at Barrett Ray Nissan, Highway 1792 in Longwood. And by the way, folks, I still have my bat.
Out of the blue, a show on ice. A cut above, oh so nice. Long John Silver's making a splash. Fresh and hot, a wave of gold. Tender shrimp, so big and bold. Long John Silver's making a splash. Long John Silver's making a splash.
Try Long John's home-style holiday combo. Fish, shrimp, and fries, just $2.99.
At Nude Oak Furniture, you'll discover the warmth and richness of solid wood. Stop in and visit Nude Oak's gallery of Richardson Brothers solid oak bedroom and dining room furniture, endowed with a deep, rich finish that lends brilliance to every room in your home. For a limited time, Nude Oak is offering our entire collection of Richardson Brothers at tremendous savings. Nude Oak, US 1 Holly Hill. Make the natural choice. Solid wood.
Happy holidays from our family to yours.
In Miami, they don't want much. They just want it all this Christmas from Santa, and they've got an opportunity to pull that all off as well if they beat the Buffalo Bills next week. They could win the AFC Eastern Division crown and also the home field advantage throughout the playoffs in the AFC. But they've got to maintain the 14-point lead over the Seattle Seahawks before they get to Buffalo. J.L. Williams, John L. Williams across the 40. Carrying tacklers for a first down to the 43. Most touchdown passes on the all-time list. Top spot belongs to Fran Tarkenton. And when you look at Dan Marino and how he stacks up with the very best in only his 8th year. 238, Joe Montana in his 12th season with 241.
It's 2 ahead of George Blanda, who played 26 years. If he plays 26 years, he'll have about 700 touchdown passes.
You think he'll overtake Fran, I guess?
He might.
First and 10, Seattle's own 42-yard line. Quick slant. Blades has it. First down, Seattle inside the 45, down to the 43.
I think David Craig is on the same page as I am. I said in order for them to get back in this game, they got to find Brian Blades, and they're a nice shot to Blades. Blades a legitimate game breaker, not used a lot this year in Seattle. He would like to catch more passes.
First and 10 at the 43. Craig, without a choice, throwing on first down, has Kane. It's complete to the 25. Another first down for the Seahawks. Doing it in very quick fashion.
This is just, they send Blades straight down the middle and then bring Kane on a break-in pattern. Blades clears it out, and here comes Kane across the middle. A nice throw and a nice catch. Single coverage there. Tommy Kane having a big day. 7 receptions, 106 yards.
And he's the first receiver to go over 100 yards in receiving yardage against the Dolphins this year. John L. Williams hammering it up the middle for 5 to the 20-yard line, close to the 19. So call it a gain of 6.
You know, we were talking earlier about the best all-around back. I think that John L. may block a little bit better than Thurman Thomas. I haven't let you get off that.
No question about that.
Okay, there you go.
But in that other area, it's down to the 19. We're at 2nd and 4 as the debate continues. 12:35 left. John L. Williams going nowhere. David Griggs, the linebacker, almost on top of Williams as soon as he got the ball. Don't forget, next Saturday afternoon, great matchup at the Coliseum. And that is actually the second game of our doubleheader today. The Bengals taking on the Raiders at the Coliseum. Third and 5. Biggest third down of the day, to say the least, for the Seahawks. Craig with time, has a man wide open. It's Kane again, his 8th grab. First and goal, Seattle.
Tommy Kane is working over this Miami Dolphins secondary. You see David Craig looking downfield. Kane just runs a little curl pattern, stays away from everybody, and makes a nice catch. Tommy Kane.
So now it's first and goal, close to the 6-yard line. Plenty of time left for the Seahawks to put it all together. They can cut the deficit to within 7. Kane goes in motion. Craig looking in that direction. Blades is there. He's out of bounds. What concentration, though, by Brian Blades.
Great catch by Brian Blades. Pretty nice throw, but it's just a little bit too deep. See Crave throwing the ball. Now Brian Blades got one hand on it. He can't get control of it before he runs out the other end of the end zone. Those are the balls that you really want to catch because you know you're not going to get another chance. You get one chance down in there, and then they will call a different kind of play.
11 minutes, 14 seconds left in the 4th. 2nd and goal. Craig out of the shotgun from the 6. Pressure coming. Craig goes down. Offerdahl in there.
A huge play by John Offerdahl. David Craig not able to have any time to let that ball go, and Offerdahl just right down on top of it. Very nice play. You see Offerdahl to the left side of your screen. Here he comes on a little looping surge and just runs Craig down. John Offerdahl, one of the most consistent linebackers in the league.
He's been to the Pro Bowl in each of his first 4 seasons.
And boy, he can unload on you.
3rd and goal from the 20-yard line. Pocket holding up. Craig dumping it off and underthrows John L. Williams. And now the decision for Chuck Knox.
I think Chuck's going for the field goal. He's going to take these points right here. Maybe that time, I'm sure Dave, thinking back, maybe might have wanted to run with that ball. as he ducked up underneath the pressure. Looked like he had a little bit of room in front of him, but certainly not enough room to run for the first down or anywhere near it.
Well, Johnson missed his last one, a 34-yarder hitting the left upright. This is going to be a try of 38 yards from the 28-yard line. It's on its way, and it hits the upright again and glances to the outside. 2 straight misses for Johnson. So again, the Seahawks fail to come up and capitalize inside the red zone. They don't get a thing out of it, and they're still down by 14 to Miami.
Upon its introduction, the first Acura Legends set a new standard for performance sedans. But as impressive as that may have been, it was merely a reflection of things to come. Introducing the new Legend from Acura.
Anybody thought about dynamite?
In 1859, Isaac Cook created a Great American Champagne to launch the Great American Clipper ships. Today, people are still launching celebrations with Cook's Imperial American Champagne.
A disappointing day so far for the Seattle Seahawks, and especially their place kicker, Norm Johnson. Just hit the right upright after hitting the left upright earlier in the second half.
One of the most pressurized jobs in all of football because everybody thinks the kicks are a gimme. While Norm Johnson has saved them in the past, today he's having a pretty tough day.
And now the Miami Dolphins can basically wrap it up with a time-consuming drive, just coming up with 3 points. And get it first and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Let's see if they try to run it a little bit. It'll be Sammy Smith. And he's met and stacked up after a gain of 3.
This Seattle team will not quit. They'll keep playing hard because they've got the experience of having come back a lot of times this year.
Used to trying to go 2 games over the 500 mark with a 10-point lead on the Chiefs at Kansas City. Dallas running away from Phoenix. And Miami getting geared up for next week's matchup with the Buffalo Bills. A game where the Bills will be starting Frank Reich as their quarterback. Marino in the play action. Looking for his man. It's complete. Duper. He had to release the ball long before Duper ever turned around. And it's a first down to the 38.
I think one of the things that has been said too many times is Marino has no mobility. Watch this. Rolls out, fires this ball right on a rope to Duper. I was saying Duper said he feels so good. He's playing like 10 pounds under his normal playing weight at this time of the year. And he says, as you get older, you got to lose some weight to keep that speed.
So Duper's got the reception in his 9th year from Northwestern Louisiana State.
And he can flat out fly.
First and 10 for the Dolphins. As the clock runs against the Seattle Seahawks. Garrett Limbrick with the carries, spinning for 4 up to the 42. Be right back to Joe Robbie Stadium. Let's go to Bob Costas now in New York.
All right, Joel, watch this play at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City. Warren Moon bumped a little bit, but then he's able to unload to Haywood Jeffries, who makes the catch, spins away from the defender. It covers 87 yards for the touchdown. Jeffries with 7 catches for 216 yards already. Moon 2 TD passes, 31 for the year, leads the league, and Houston leads at KC 17-7.
What was the rest of that?
All right, Bob. A 14-point lead for the Dolphins, looking at 2nd and 6 at their own 42. Sammy Smith looking to bounce it out. Turned it back in. Looked like there was room towards the sideline for Smith. Only gets 3 up to the 45. We're looking at the remaining games for these two teams. It'll be 2 games at home now. The Seattle Seahawks against Denver and Detroit. Now, the Buffalo game is on the horizon. The Miami Dolphins, the one we've been talking about, next Sunday.
One of the things that Miami wanted to do is they need home field advantage in those playoffs, and the way to do that is to beat Seattle today and next week, that big showdown with the Buffalo Bills.
Big 3rd down for the Dolphins. Want to hang on to it, eat as much time up as possible. Marino out of the shotgun. Inside give Troy Stratford. Forget about it. Defense comes up big for Seattle. And the Seahawks will get it back. The strong safety, one of the first ones in there, Nesby Glasgow.
He was the first one, and then the next 10 guys jumped on him.
Jeff Bryant, the injured Seahawk. So a tough day all the way around for the Seattle defensive unit, especially in the second half when they've been on the field most of the time. It's still a 2-touchdown lead for the Dolphins.
Okay, everybody, listen up.
27 million Americans are illiterate. Albert Davis was one of them.
My dear family, for all these years, I have wanted to write about what you mean to me, but I could not write.
Look for this Coors Light display. Learn how you can help. Teach someone to read.
Today, I can read.
Recently, Acura introduced what many have called the greatest sports car the world has ever known. Our latest idea is somewhat bigger. The new Acura Legend.
It happens while you sleep.
A kiss? Not yet, honey.
Millions of bacteria form in your mouth.
A kiss? No.
So you wake up with the worst breath of the day. Morning breath.
Oh, honey.
Fight morning breath with Scope. Antiseptic Scope has 2 powerful ingredients that kill 90% of the bacteria that cause morning breath.
How about that kiss?
Where's my kiss?
Kiss me, you big lug.
Scope. Original mint or peppermint. The best thing, first thing in the morning.
NBC Sports coverage of the National Football League is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance. By Scope, the best thing first thing in the morning. By Radio Shack, America's technology store. Nobody compares for Christmas shopping. And by Coors Light, the one that won't slow you down. The Silver Bullet is the right beer now.
There you see a couple radical dudes.
Roby punting it away. Chris Warren waiting back. He'll take it to the 11-yard line. And across the 25, he's down to the 28. Greg Beatty, one of the first ones down there. A reserve tight end.
Couple of radical dudes looking for a big surf somewhere, enjoying themselves today.
Upon its introduction, the first Acura Legend set a new standard for performance sedans. But as impressive as that may have been, it was merely a reflection of things to come. Introducing the new Legend from Acura.
I was afraid to go to the doctor. I didn't want to hear that I might have an ulcer, but I just couldn't ignore my stomach. You can imagine how relieved I was when my doctor said, Mylanta. He told me it wasn't an ulcer. It was indigestion. And indigestion like mine needed a strong medicine.
Mylanta is strong medicine, strongly recommended. In fact, Mylanta is the antacid doctors recommend most.
My doctor said Mylanta.
When you're out street hiking, you better know how to read the terrain. Do your best to preserve the wildlife, because street hikers don't just walk, they hike. Fresh shoes, Joe.
To make wrenching fast and easy, you can either do this, or get this, the Skill Wrench Cordless Power Wrench. It's revolutionary.
Welcome back once again to Joe Robbie Stadium. Joel Myers along with Ahmad Rashad. Last week, in talking to John L. Williams and Brian Blades of the Seattle Seahawks, they told us that inside the red zone, those little things always got them. It's really hurt them today.
It really has. You play a team like Miami and try to get in a scoring battle, and all you're putting up at 3 points at a time, and they're putting up touchdowns. Well, that's obviously you are in trouble, and that's what the Seahawks are right now, in trouble.
And Dan Marino again coming through in the clutch, especially on 3rd and long. He's done it so well in the second half. Still time, though, for the Seattle Seahawks. A little bit less than 7 minutes left in the contest, and it's complete. Ron Heddle, the tight end's got a first down for the Seahawks up to the 48. And they looked the same way on their last drive.
Until they got down to the red zone.
You
then
got
all
it.
of a sudden they started to stall.
Inside the 20, they started to make the mistakes again.
Seattle Seahawks, because they have come back so many times this year, will give them the type of confidence that they think they can do it again, and they've got plenty of time on the scoreboard.
I thought it was interesting. Ronnie Lee said difference between this team, and he's played on a couple of teams in his 12th year, is Chuck Notch just will not let this team quit. There's so much character out there. Craig going deep has Tommy Kane. It's complete. McKyer lane way off of Kane. It's a first down to the 30-yard line.
Tim McKyer, one of the premier cornerbacks in the league, is getting a semi-clinic run on him here. He'll be mad at me for saying that, but it is the truth. As you watch Tommy Kane working deep here, but anytime you give a quarterback that much time to throw the ball, the receiver should be wide open. I don't care how good of a quarterback that you are, you cannot cover a wide receiver for that long of a period of time.
And
Tommy Kane, 9 receptions, 153 yards.
This comes against statistically the second best defense in the NFL against the pass. 3rd best overall as Craig has it batted down at the line.
Seattle Seahawks offensive line doing a fine job of giving Craig time to look around downfield and deliver the ball. Right then, it was just knocked down. You see David looking downfield, trying to find a receiver. He's looking for Benny Blades. If he was looking for Benny Blades, he'd have to throw it all the way to Detroit.
Yeah, it was Jeff
He's
Cross.
looking for Brian Blades, who plays here.
Jeff Cross out of Missouri, leading the Dolphins with 10 sacks this year, but he's been shut out over the last 4+ games. Does not have one so far today. Craig looking, and it's intercepted by Offerdahl. Offerdahl in a foot race with the offensive lineman who gets him Andy Heck. That should take care of business. First and 10 Miami at the 48.
Watch this. Offerdahl just nice jump on the ball and takes off running here, showing us some speed. But Andy Heck able to run him down. Had he gotten by Andy Heck, he had Carl Wilson and Sean Lee out front trying to lay blocks for him. He'd have gone all the way. John Offerdahl with a very nice big play for the Miami Dolphins. And there's Dave Craig, who's not very happy about that. That ball was thrown right at John Offerdahl.
First and 10 Dolphins. 5:28 left. Sammy Smith in the carry. Blocking out front. He fumbles the ball. It looks like the Seahawks got it back. Yes, Seattle's got it. Was it Eugene Robinson? Number 41, yes, with the recovery.
So for all that excitement, the jumping up and down, it all turned around right away. You see Sammy Smith running through there, and Eugene Robinson just gets an arm in there and rips that ball out. And at this point in the game, this is when you really got to hold on to the ball. Once again, watch Sammy Smith and watch Eugene Robinson, number 41, come up and just strip the ball right there. Knocks it down and falls right on top of it. And Dave Craig, who was upset a minute ago, gets another shot.
It was a much better first half of the season for Sammy Smith, to say the least, than it has been over the second half of the season. The fans in South Florida have been coming down on him in recent weeks, especially the last 2 games. He hasn't had much on the ground. It's complete to Chadwick. He's got the first down. So he's pushed out of bounds right at midfield. Lewis Oliver on the coverage. So still one last gasp there with 5:13 left. The Seattle Seahawks just refusing to quit again. They have taken 3 straight for their last 5. And all 5 have either been decided on the final play of the game or in the final minute like last week. Benner and Jones in the backfield. John O. Williams, the last series, went limping off. Looked like he may have turned an ankle. Craig with pressure. Gets rid of it. It's dropped by Tommy Kane. It would have been his 10th catch of the day.
Tommy Kane has been having a superb day. And a very key drop here. Runs a very nice break-in pattern. Oh, really working well. Tommy Kane, excellent route. Look how far McKyer is behind him. That's man-to-man coverage. And he ends up covering it himself. Self-check.
Field goal by Nick Lowry, a 38-yarder. Cutting the deficit to 7 for Kansas City. And Gary Anderson has tied it up for Pittsburgh. Big day for Emmitt Smith and the Dallas Cowboys. The 24-10 lead for the Dolphins. Under 5 minutes remaining. 2nd and 10. Moving pocket for Craig. Blades has it, and it's complete for a first down to the 35. We may have a review before this one's all over.
I think I'd try to go to that hurry-up offense at this point. You see Craig roll out and throw this ball right down on the line. Oh, it's a pretty good play. Great play by Brian Blades, keeping his feet in bounds. Keeping his feet in bounds. Watch another look at it. See Brian Blades, the outside receiver here, just stops, comes back to the sideline. Watch his 2 feet. They're both in. I guarantee you
I'm ready.
that this is a completed pass. Watch his feet.
I'm ready.
They're in. They're in. Great play.
Now, you guarantee it.
I guarantee this one. Guarantee it.
It would be a first down to the 35-yard line if the play stands.
It would also be the first time I guarantee stood. Very nice footwork by Brian Blades.
And he had a defensive back coming up on him. Amount as a former wide receiver, that's going to be tough, that kind of concentration, to not only know you're going to get hit, but to maintain the feet down.
The play stands. Completed catch. First down.
Well, Mr. Rashad is 1 for 2 on guarantees.
Thank you, Johnny Greer. Referee in this game.
1st and 10. Clock stop, 4:39 left. Pressure coming on Craig. Gets rid of it in time. Complete to the tight end again, Ron Heller. He's got another first down to the 22. Brought down by Cliff Odom.
I would like to see this Seattle Seahawks team hurry up a little bit now. I mean, if they're going to try to get back in this game, they need to just be about the business of trying to score touchdowns and hustle it up a little bit. The clock is not on their side.
A little bit better than 4 minutes left. Craig on 1st and 10. Going over for Kane. Intercepted by McKyer. And he was not touched down. He's down now at the 11. And flags go down the play. Well, initially they did not stop the play back at the 5 to let McKyer get up. Then the altercation started, and on they hit the 11. Personal fouls coming up. And they effectively could be dead ball fouls if they're calling them down to the 5-yard line where he took it in.
Tim McKyer playing way off of Tommy Kane. A very cagey move, and then he makes a play on the ball.
We have personal foul, number 93, after the interception, is first down Miami.
Once again, you'll see Tommy Kane getting a lot of room up top. You see McKyer, just now he's playing the quarterback at this point. He makes the break on the ball before Kane even turns around and makes a nice grab there. No one's touched him. He gets up to take off running, and he is driven to the ground right here. Now here comes the penalty right here. Watch Cliff Odom. Well, Cliff Odom, right at the end of the play, came on and tried to smack somebody and got caught with the penalty.
So another turnover by Seattle. A poorly thrown ball by Dave Craig. And a 1st and 10 for the Dolphins at their own 2-yard line. Ball security at the utmost. Sammy Smith hangs on this time as the Seahawks start to use their timeouts. They use their first. 2 remaining. 3:46 left in the contest. And Seattle down by 14. So if things stay the same, Seattle would fall to 7-7. Miami would raise their record to 10-3, getting ready for the showdown with the Bills next weekend in Buffalo.
And this was not an easy game for Don Shula and this Miami Dolphin team. They, a lot of times, once you clinch a playoff berth, it's very hard to get teams fired up to go out and keep playing at a winning level. But I think they've shown here today that, you know, they don't expect just to get into the playoffs. They want to get into it and take it to the final round. And having won here today like the way they did without some of their key personnel like Tony Page and Mark Clayton, I think it was a very big win here by the Miami Dolphins.
Well, Don Shula did a great job of motivating this group after they had already assured themselves of their first playoff berth since 1985. They've got their first winning season since 1987. Already wrapped up as well. Called it 2nd and 10. Marino throwing out of his own end zone, going deep for James Pruitt. And essentially just throwing that one away. Great bowl lineup coming your way on New Year's Day on NBC. It all starts with the Hall of Fame Bowl at Mott and Isleby in Tampa, Florida for the test between Clemson and Illinois. Then it's the Fiesta Bowl, Louisville taking on the resurgent Crimson Tide of Alabama, a team that won 7 of their last 8. And then the battle for number 1, Colorado and Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl right here in Miami. So be with us on New Year's Day for great college football. They're down and still just about 10 yards outside of the 2. Clock is stopped, 3:40 left. Anything but a turnover as far as the Dolphins are concerned. That's what the Seahawks need deep now in Miami territory as the Dolphins use a timeout.
Dan Marino certainly seeing it something he didn't like and called timeout immediately.
And for many of you, coming up next, the Los Angeles Raiders with an opportunity to take over sole possession of first place in the AFC West, because right now Houston's got a 20-10 lead on the Kansas City Chiefs. Raiders started the day at a tie for the lead in the AFC West. So that's the Bengals and the Raiders coming up next for many of you. Coming up next for us, though, an update in New York with Bob Costas and NFL Live.
Joel, an incredible day for Warren Moon in Kansas City. He's up over 400 yards passing, backpedaling here. He hits Drew Hill, who spins around Kevin Ross. Ross is able to recover for the shoestring tackle, averting the touchdown. They settle for a Teddy Garcia field goal of 26 yards. Houston 20, Chiefs 10, fourth quarter in KC.
Thank you, Bob. If I'm not mistaken, that puts Warren Moon well over 4,000 yards on the year in passing, and he's still got 2 games left. What a sensational season.
I wonder how many yards he'd have if he plays 26 years.
Get out your calculator, partner.
I think that's a record in itself.
So now Marino and the Dolphins could essentially end it with a first down here. 3 minutes and 40 seconds left. A 24-10 Miami lead at one point midway through the second quarter. The Seahawks led it 10-3, but then Marino and the offense got going. A touchdown pass to James Pruitt. And then a touchdown run by Troy Stratford after a long Miami drive. And the Dolphins have the lead and the momentum at halftime. Marino throwing out of his own end zone. Overthrowing Limbrick, the fullback, with flags down on the play. Now was Limbrick held up? Was it defensive holding?
I think that ball was.
Yes, it was.
Greg Batty. I thought it was thrown to Batty.
Greg Batty in the area.
50 defense. First down.
And the penalty on Dave Aarons.
You will see Dave Aarons here on the right side of your screen. Here comes Limbrick. You can barely see right there. You see him. All of a sudden, he makes a tackle there. Oh, yeah, gets a nice, good grab on him, realizing that it's a pass play rather than a run. That's where the penalty is. And a big penalty because it gives the Dolphins a first down.
Automatic first down outside of their own 7. Discussed with Tom Catlin and the defensive group for the Seattle Seahawks. Jensen going in motion to the 2 tight end set. Sammy Smith on the carry. Keeps the legs driving up the 10-yard line. And the Seahawks use another timeout. They've got 1 remaining. Pittsburgh with their first lead of the day over the New Orleans Saints. Minnesota coming back, but too little too late, most likely for the Vikings. And we'd like to remind you this telecast presented by authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Miami Dolphins and the NFL is prohibited. This game is the property of the National Football League, the Miami Dolphins, and the Seattle Seahawks. All rights reserved. So they stop the clock with 3:28 left. Down to their final timeout. 2nd and 7 situation for Miami. Still close to 8 yards at the 10-yard line. Been quite a second half for Dan Marino. Every time they needed a 3rd down conversion, and they got a couple of 3rd and longs in that one drive of on that started back at their own 20-yard line. Marino came through, and that one drive resulted in the touchdown pass on 4th and inches outside of the 10-yard line. The touchdown pass to Farrell Edmonds.
Miami has just played an excellent football game here today. They said that they were worried about that football team after they got beat by Washington. And once they got back on track by beating Philadelphia, they felt like they were back. That's the real Miami Dolphin team.
Mark Logan on the carry, brought down by Cortez Kennedy. And no gain on that carry.
That chant you heard in the background was a few of the fans saying, "We want Buffalo." Of course, Don Shula will get Buffalo next week.
Ahmad, we were here for the first matchup between the two teams when the Dolphins almost shut out the Buffalo Bills, who won it finally 30-7. I think Don Shula would probably say that was his most complete effort of the entire season.
They will need that same similar effort if they hope to get by Buffalo next week, because that was probably Buffalo's worst game. They have played much better since then.
Flags down and overthrown as Mark Duper was the intended target, and a flag thrown down at the feet of Patrick Hunter and Mark Duper in that general area as well. So flags all over the place. Will it offset? Looks like procedure possibly against the Dolphins.
Some kind of procedure. The big showdown in Buffalo next week. That is going to be some kind of football game.
We have 2 fouls on the offense. Offensive interference, number 85. Illegal motion, number 11. They're both declined. 4th down.
Johnny Greer, our referee, very emphatic about the calls. And the Dolphins will give it back to Seattle. 2 minutes and 38 seconds remaining as Reggie Roby will punt it out of his own end zone to Chris Warren. Back deep for the Seahawks.
Reggie Roby has already kicked one of them out of the stadium, which led to a touchdown because it was fumbled, fell on by Miami, and led right to a touchdown.
Roby with a low-line drive. Warren will be able to return this one into Miami territory, getting blocks down the sideline. And is out of bounds from the Seahawk bench. at the Miami 31. Tonight on NBC, kick it all off with Ferris Bueller, followed by Save the Bell, then the sensational movie with Michael J. Fox, Back to the Future, followed by Ed Begley Jr. and Parenthood. That's all tonight. The lineup on NBC. So the Seahawks get it in sensational field position at the 31-yard line, but they're down by 14. They're down to 2:26 left in the game and only one timeout. So 44-yard punt and a 25-yard return. James Jones in the backfield. So it was probably a turned ankle. We have not received word yet from the Seahawks. For John L. Williams, not coming back into the game. Chadwick, did he bring it in? Yes. Yep. Looks like it almost touched the ground. And it's complete. Right at the first down marker, the 21-yard line.
Joel, with 2 minutes and 13 seconds left, stranger things have happened in this league. And
all you need is a touchdown and an onside kick. Tommy Kim, the crossing pattern. He's out of bounds at the 2-minute warning. So that'll be a first down for the Seahawks when we come back. They'll have it 1st and 10 at the 13. As we come right back to Joe Robbie Stadium. But the Seahawks in serious trouble, down by 14.
Radio Shack's sale price compact disc players are showing up everywhere this Christmas. Under Bob's dashboard. This high-powered Optimus CD player fits any car. Under Debbie's pillow. With this portable CD, she can listen to music anywhere. Under our bookshelves, where we can all enjoy this Optimus programmable CD player with remote control.
Put a sale-priced CD player under your tree this Christmas. Only at Radio Shack, America's technology store. Nobody compares for Christmas shopping.
Recently, Acura introduced what many have called the greatest sports car the world has ever known. Our latest idea is somewhat bigger. The new Acura Legend.
When the only thing better than making it to the top is making it to the bottom.
It's the right feeling now.
Because you know looking good isn't just for summer.
It's the right feeling now.
Because you know winter's the time to turn up the heat. So call for the silver bullet, the one that won't slow you down.
It's the right feeling now.
Today's Ronald McDonald Children's Charities Player of the Game, without a doubt, Dan Marino, the Miami Dolphins. McDonald's and NBC donating $5,000 in the name of Dan Marino to Ronald McDonald Children's Charities to help give kids a better tomorrow. Marino today, 17 of 29, 250 yards with 2 touchdown tosses. Seattle, though, more importantly, trying to get back into it. Exactly 2 minutes remaining. 1st and 10 outside of the 13. Craig buying some time. In the end zone, has a man. Touchdown! Jeff Chadwick coming up with a big grab.
Heads-up play by Dave Craig, keeping this play alive. Looking down, looking over to the side, and now he's looking down the field, looking for Chadwick. Nice play there by Chadwick. And the call was, he came down in bounds anyway. That was clearly a touchdown.
Now Norm Johnson for the all-important extra point to cut it to within 7. And he's got it. So they've done it once again. The Seattle Seahawks getting it close in the late stages. They're only down by 7, 1:51 remaining. The onside kick, you'd have to think, is coming up because they're just about out of timeouts. Only one timeout left for each team.
8 of the last 13 games have been decided within the final 2 minutes, and 2 in overtime. That becomes a very impressive statistic at this point. And the thing is, for Seattle, they know that they've won in this situation before. And for Miami, they know that Seattle has won also. So Don Shula will get a few more gray hairs here in this final minute and 51 seconds of this game. because it puts a lot of pressure on the receiving team.
Now Miami putting out a lot of their defensive backs like Oliver, McKyer. Duper's out there as well. Jarvis Williams, Farrell Edmonds up front. Jim Jensen too.
These are the hands people, they call them, the good hands people.
There's Rusty Tillman, the special teams coach for the Seattle Seahawks.
And the thing is, you know, they've done so many things on their onside kick that you really don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if they're going to kick it on the ground, if they're going to like a little poop kick over the first line of defenders, so you never know. Whatever it is, there's a lot of pressure on number 44, Paul Langford, because that's usually where that ball comes.
Johnson and the Seahawks ready to go. Will they get one final try with the ball? A minute 51 left. There's the onside kick. And Miami comes up with it. And live, the man you were talking about, Paul Langford, diving on the ball at the Seattle 44.
This is the spot where most of the balls are kicked, and you put your most sure-handed guy there. As you see, there's Langford coming up, making that grab. It's tough to catch that ball like that. And you see all those blue jerseys coming right at you, because one guy on the blue team is supposed to like knock you away from the ball while the other one tries to pull it out. But Langford with a very nice play there, just keeping control of the ball.
So the Dolphins up by 7 and wrap it up as the Seahawks have only one timeout. And one more time to stop the clock. Sammy Smith taking it inside the 42 down to the 41 for a gain of 3, and they use their final timeout, stopping it with 1:45 remaining.
Have I already said stranger things can happen? No, I said stranger things have happened. That's what I said. And I say it once again.
Well, we've seen Sammy Smith fumble the ball already today. It's not like he's had fumbleitis this year, but he just recently, over the last 3 to 4 weeks, has had problems hanging onto the ball.
That's a bad sign at this point of the year. And you see Chuck Knox saying try to rip that ball out. That's all the only chance they have is to try to get that ball right away.
Final just in. Gary Anderson's the difference in the game. Pittsburgh knocks off New Orleans at New Orleans 9-6. So the Steelers will go into their matchup with the Cleveland Browns next week at home with an 8-6 record. Sammy Smith again on the carry. Turns it to the outside. Stays in bounds, which was all important. And is short of the first down by 2 yards. Brought down by Nesby Glasgow. But staying in bounds was the key to the play.
Oh, very wise. You see him also cover that ball up. Very nice run by Sammy Smith. Smart run. Don't get knocked out of bounds. Don't fumble the ball.
So the Seattle Seahawks stacked it up between their 2 tackles. Sammy Smith took it wide for good yardage. And now the Dolphins can deliver the final knockout blow with a first down here on 3rd and 2. It's Smith, and he is stacked up. He's short of the first down. So the Dolphins will let the clock roll down. Take a 5-yard penalty. Bring on their punting team. And Seattle may get one more try at it with the old tip drill.
The old Hail Mary.
Don't forget, right after today's game, NFL Live with Bob Costas, O.J. Simpson, and Will McDonough. Scores and highlights around the league. Play clock down to 3. They'll stop as they'll take the penalty, the 5-yard penalty with 10 seconds left. And Roby will come onto the field with a punting unit. Now Chris Warren has to remember the last thing you want to do is let the clock run out while you're trying to bring it back with very little options.
Chris Warren, like every athlete that's ever played football at any level of the game, has dreamed about catching this ball and running it all the way down for a touchdown and put his team back in the game. It's just that you have to make the decision whether you have a chance to run it all the way back or get out of bounds.
The snap, a good one to Roby. As he hits it a mile high. Warren calling for the fair catch and takes it in. With a slight bobble to the 9-yard line. So one final snap for Craig in the offense. With 3 seconds left. They truly never quit. You can never count them out because of their head coach. The gentleman we're looking at right now, Chuck Knox. They have really contributed to their own miseries, though, this afternoon with all the mistakes inside the 20-yard line.
Sometimes I think the best play in this situation is you run a lot of people deep and then throw the ball underneath and hope he runs for the score. But as you can see, this game here has led to that big matchup next week, Buffalo-Miami.
Craig, final play of the game, barring a penalty. Hoping for a miracle. And it won't arrive. So that's the conclusion of the contest. A win for the Miami Dolphins, an 11-3 record. And the showdown is coming up in Buffalo next week for the AFC Eastern Division title. Don Shula with another 10-plus win season. An incredible year.
And a very big victory here for this Miami Dolphin team. I mean, everybody thought they were going to look past Seattle. They didn't. Maybe Seattle got their attention at the beginning of the game, but they certainly turned it on. And there you see two of the winningest coaches in the history of the National Football League right there, Chuck Knox and Don Shula.
Our producer today, Larry Cirillo, our director, Dick Klein. From Rashad, I'm Joel Myers. Thank you for joining us.